my head. Took my loss for my cross, walked my mile so that I might smile. Gave your heart, paid the price that I should pay. Now there it is, you stay forever, ever locked away. Should feel sane, should feel whole, but your pain is in my soul. 'Cause I'm still never free from this addiction, affliction. Now it's yours, but still in me. I cannot detox from this condition, conviction. You're inside my misery box. I'm still never free from this addiction, affliction. Now it's yours, but still in me. Cannot detox from this condition, conviction. You're inside my misery box. I don't deserve you. You stay true. I want to save you from my misery. You couldn't save me from my misery. I'm addicted to my misery. Addicted to my misery. Addicted to my misery box.
And good morning, best chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to some delicious, malicious morning nonsense chat. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hello to you, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We ready for some Weeb Day nonsense. It's Friday. Almost the weekend, chat. Almost the weekend. We got some stuff, some interesting stuff going on, some fun stuff going on. Well, check it out. Chad got some videos here. Let's see let's see the journey today, Chad. See how you like it. All right. Everything all set, ready to go. It's a shout out says happy vanilla chai morning, LD and Chad. What sounds delicious? Vanilla chai morning. Hello to you. Little Fence says, praise be to LD, best chat, of course, Space King. You see, in the Page Master, the library represents his masculinity, which he has to find outside the presence of the mother. Now, an Iron John. Exactly. You know where to go. You know where to go. Let's see. Hudson Bomb says, morning, folks. Start the new Ghost in the Shell. First episode is pretty fast paced, and honestly, I'm really liking this more expressive Motoko compared to the SAC Stoic. But yeah, it's just the standalone complex and the movie, like the Ghost in the Shell movie. She's a lot more stoic because I think she's supposed to be more reserved and doll-like. Like especially the movie made her more doll-like, like her in the eyes and everything. And standalone complex is way more like a on the ball, highly competent, more serious because it's a more serious show. Bato still kind of brings some of the goofiness, but not nearly in the ways that he does in the new Ghost in the Shell. In the new Ghost in the Shell, it's everyone's kind of goofy. It's even Aramaki. Let's see. Asa, good morning, everyone. Hello to you, Asa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Igi Translita. Was Motoko in the manga a gooner? I guess kinda. Because the funny part about her character in the manga is that she's kind of like she's very much has a guy's personality, which is kind of like why the first episode, Bato connects with her so they can like communicate easier. And she moans when he puts it in the back of her neck. And he's like, don't do that, it creeps me out. Because she has a guy's personality. It kind of feels very strange. Which, again, does come up I think it comes up in Standalone Complex. Like, Bato, I think it's in Individual 11. He's like, why don't you just get like a male chassis at this point? Let's get a dude's body. And it all comes down to, you want the female body so you can still wear that bracelet. It's important. It's Up Down Dance is a 9 a.m. a likely story lit dev. Almost. It's a few minutes late. Hello, Batista says, happy Weeb Day, LD and Bez Chat. Good morning to you guys, Batista. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Carnage Ketchel says, more and Rubble Chat. Weeb Day has arrived, and I am up to my neck in waifus, an epic series this season. Let's see. I guess there's a lot coming out this season, apparently. Let's see. Dun says, from what I recall, Motoko has, she has more of a sensationalist seeking any and all sensations. It's kind of like a thrill seeker, I guess, in this one, but with like a secret heart of gold. I do mention that in an episode where she's like, oh yes, just you'll be a unit that goes around and fights evil, essentially. It's like you wanted. Like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see your chat. Oh, she's like a combination of she wants to do good and she wants lots of money, which makes sense, I guess. It's a Dot Cry. It says the weebs have woken. Absolutely. The Fen says Sega Sanshiro says he will make all the honorable gaijin who refuse to play the glorious Sega Saturn go on quest to libraries full of woke comics. Oh man, well, full of woke comics. So that sucks. It's a Comic Wiz says good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello to you, Comic Wiz. Hello, hello. Carnage Ketchel says one live best chat. Welcome to the Weeb Day and all the waifus of the season. Shadow Wing Tronic says good morning. All finally finished the first Kino Journey anime. Kind of ended in on a downer, but a good show for all. I haven't seen that one yet, but it sounds pretty interesting. Ends on a downer. That'd be kind of interesting that they lead up to it, but still good. Revenar says, good evening, little devil and Weebly Chads. Hello to Revenar. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the Abragioni. Good morning to you, Abragioni. I don't like adaptations like that. This is that cultures are different. You can't just put them together and fix duct tape. Unfortunately, over here, they think that's how it works. If you could just have, a show with an anime look to it, it'll be successful. When really, would that work? I guess technically, but only because they usually get like a Japanese director to go along with it. Usually that's how it goes. Usually they get like a Japanese guy to direct it or write it or something like that, and so they write it well instead of woke, all that stuff. So it tends to work out. Now the style is not really exactly what sells. It's the good story. It's the interesting story. Because right now you see the anime style and you think like, okay, we're in for some sort of wild ride. Usually, even if it's like isekai slop, there's going to be something there that you can like. Probably that's the funny stuff. Let's see, but however, it's like right now the anime style is like the opposite of that Disney slop style. There's you see the Disney like smooth polished 3D animation and you instantly think, oh, this is slop. That's how bad it is. It's not because we're judging too harshly. It's because we've seen this style over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and each and every time it's all been heartless slop. And so we associate that style with slop. And the same way we associate the anime style with at least something interesting. Olympus says, happy Weeb Day, LD in chat. Hetslop, you say? No, that's just made up here term of a cringe leftist who hate nuclear families and normal. Yeah, this is normal. It's normal. It's not a Hetslop. It's just normal storytelling. All right, just everything being gay is not normal. You will never normalize it either. Everything being gay is not normal because the hetero stuff is what makes the species continue. So that's why it's normal and important. It's a Nathaniel Sosa Ball says hello again. Hello to you, Nathaniel Sosa Ball. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Lady Fast says good morning, LD and Best Chat and the Weeb used to Weeb days that ever weeb to weebs for weebin. Oh, and don't forget you vitamin 5. I recommend observation log for my fiance. Fantastic, Lady Fast a lot. Fantastic. As the Abrajoni says, about 16 years ago, there was a Russian anime film I watched 10 seconds of, and it was out. It felt wrong. Wow, what was that then? That sounds insane. Let's see. Hi, hello to you, Alex Halo. Hi, everyone. Welcome, Alex Halo. Welcome. Dave Musselman says, good morning, LD and Bez Chat. Hello. Let's see. All right. Megaphone says, woke up with a stomach ache and sore throat. And I'm still cleaning chairs for the second day. Should have called in sick. Oh, man, that sucks. Maybe you should. Well, good luck to you, Megathon. Hope things go well. But when you get home, remember to relax. It takes a little something just in case you did catch something. It's a duct tape, Now I want red-green anime. As a Comic Wiz says, in the future, live stream or video, would you be interested in doing a retrospective on comic book writer Mark Miller? That'd be kind of interesting, yeah. Let's see. Vim says, good morning, LD in chat. Happy Weeb Day. Hello, Gene Vim. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Cody Ketcher says, from Rumble says, Litdev, for a full list of anime this season, go to the website Live Charts. .me, and even has the countdown to each episode release. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty on the ball there. First Squad. I mean, if it's Russian, it's probably gonna be pretty brutal. That's my guess. Comic Wiz says there are still good comic books out there that are worth people's time and patronage. Most are from the indies, but DC are slowly giving people what they want again. I can only hope. Let's see. All right. Johnny Ortiz says, hey, Lit, did you see what happened to Steven Universe? No, I didn't. What happened to Steven Universe? I didn't even know the show was still going. What happened to it? It's a Steven Universe news. Is here, Chad. What happened to it? Is it good or bad? Hopefully it's bad for Steven Universe. Let's see. Is it rumors and information? Oh, it's coming back. Is it coming back? It's coming back this year. Is that it? Hello to Greg 90 says, good morning, Alicia from Best Chat. Disney has an anime-inspired series called Dragon Striker. It's a soccer with magic, and it's interesting so far. I think it'd be pretty cool. I do like because that always sounds like Shaolin soccer, which is pretty good. We're Ronin Forever. G.I. Joe is great. It was pretty good. Yeah. To you, Vlad the Shrike. Good morning. Good morning. Carney Ketcher says, I know First Squad anime, only one episode, basically an OVA. Good stuff, though. Check it out. I mean, it is pretty, but however, it's pretty embarrassing that that Disney has to go crawling to anime. Disney that innovated so hard that they made the techniques anime went off to use. Disney was the pioneer. Disney came first, and then we got anime. Like Japan, like we looked at that and they went, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's copy that." And now Disney has to outsource all the creativity to Japan now. Turns out, strange. Comic Wiz says the good titles from the DC that are worth people's time range from Jeremy Adams' run on Green Lantern and Aquaman's to Zatanna and Joshua Williamson's Superman run. Are they good? I hope so. Especially with Superman. They can be kind of harsh with Superman because he's supposed to be like the guy that says what's good and what's standard good. So they usually have him like, marching against Republicans and saving legal immigrants or something like that. It's like you should not have laws or borders. Goodbye, I'm Superman. Anyway, chat. Anyway, let's get down to business, chat. Let's get down to business. Check us out. So what happens when anime adapts American comics? Let's see about this. What happens? What happens?
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
Japanese anime. For most of their history, these two things were completely separate. They were two different art forms from different countries with different origins and their own unique visual styles. Until one day, anime exploded. It suddenly became one of the biggest entertainment industries on the planet. And the second that happened, the people in charge of American comics started looking at it very differently. Not as a little niche thing some weird people were into, but as a huge cake.
Yeah, so we had like anime kind of come in, anime and Japanese directors and creators come in, and we got what, Batman Ninja? I think that was one of them. We had a few studios come in and work. They had like little anthology projects, right? Where I think one of them was Batman Gotham Knight, which is like a bunch of like at least 4 or 5 studios they got together to make different segments to one Batman story. It was pretty interesting, and they all had different styles and stuff. That was cool, but I think they did that. I think DC did that out of desperation. We need to get something in here. We got to make some money. Let's see. Alex says Disney shouldn't have tried to get rid of the 2D anime. Yeah, they did. They shouldn't have. That was really stupid because now because even if they decided to go back to 2D animation today, they've lost like everyone who probably knew how to do it, and they've lost what 10 plus years or more of potential innovation, expertise, practice, all that stuff. So even if they come back, they're not going to be as good. We're all the directors and everything, you know. So it's been too long. They're going to have to almost start from scratch, I think. The people that just churned out, you know. But anyway, Emmanuel Orosio says, just look at Ruby, and they did far better to Ruby herself, not only in the anime but also the fighting game in Blaze Blue. Yeah, the what was it called, Ice Queendom? It was way better than a lot of the mainstay Ruby stories, like way better. They come in, all they have to do, they don't even do anything special. They're just doing a normal story. That's it, because their whole thing is like, we got to do a good story instead of like, what story is going to boost my ego, which is what we have over here. So they're like, we gotta do this, we gotta make the story good in Japan, and they do. Like what'll be good? I mean, you gotta have some good build up, some characterization, some drama, some tension. They know how to do all of that because they've been doing it. That's been like their main job for decades now. And so even if they put in like half their effort or a third of their effort, even if they're new over there, they still have been studying under the greats, under some veterans who've never stopped making 2D animation. And so even if you get like a new guy or some guy with low experience over there, they're still gonna have a lot of innovation and know-how under their belts, and it shows. It definitely shows. Let's see. LD, it goes back further, about 20 plus years or so, when they chose to kill the 2D industry for 3D. Yeah, it's just whenever like they start doing like I guess 20 plus years, because it was when like Titan AE came out, and it was when Treasure Planet came out and all that stuff, where they're trying to do these epic level 2D animation movies, which is, I think that was going to be like the future, right? Like the Titan AE style, the Treasure Planet style, like that was going to be the them marching forward, and they kind of just cut that out for 3D animation because I guess it's easier. Even though there's a lot of complications with 3D animation, because you kind of have to, there's a secret to kind of keep it from looking dead. But yeah, I guess you only need like one model, and you just have to position them and pose them and stuff. A lot easier to do stuff as opposed to 2D animation, I guess. But yeah, they kind of did the switch over and sabotage 2D animation for 3D animation. And they were really happy when they got rid of it. John Doe says, Ethan Skyver has said he would buy manga in the 90s to work on his composition of action scenes when he was learning his craft. That wasn't that isolated. Yeah, it wasn't that. I mean, we still had, we've had manga and anime for decades. Absolutely. And there is like, it has a lot of really cool action shots. They know how to pull off action shots that are really compelling. Anyway,
he wanted a piece of. And that is when comics started being adapted into anime. So today, I want to show you what happens when you take the biggest comic book characters and throw them into the very strange world of anime. And most importantly, the difference between the adaptations that genuinely respect anime and the ones that are unashamedly LARPing just to chase a trend. Let's start with a very, very weird adaptation that DC Comics made
Oh, wait, here it is. It's Gotham Knight. Yeah, I used to have this.
Specifically to bridge the gap between the two first Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Just, so we're all in this together. Batman is one of the most famous superheroes ever created. It's the story of Bruce Wayne, a billionaire who, after witnessing the death of his parents, dedicates his whole freaking life to fighting crime as the Batman. Now, for a huge chunk of people, their first real introduction to this guy wasn't the comics or even the cartoons. It was when the movie director Christopher Nolan turned the whole Batman universe into a gritty and dark version of the series, and then casually proceeded to make one of the greatest film trilogies ever. By 2007, the entire planet was collectively losing their mind waiting for the second movie. And Warner Brothers, who were in charge of the whole thing, looked at what they did with the Animatrix back in 2003, where they expanded the Matrix movies with an anime and decided to do the exact same thing with Batman. And that's how Batman Gotham Knight started. Those were 6 interconnected short stories, each one covering a different part of Batman's early career. Where it gets kind of crazy is that 4 different Japanese animation studios animated this thing, which means that each story looks...
I think they did this before. Yeah, the Animatrix, I think, was another time they kind of got together and had like several studios work on a Western style project. So I think Animatrix was one, and then Gotham Knights was another time it happened. And they're both really cool. You've seen Animatrix; it's really interesting. If you've seen Batman Gotham Knights, it's really interesting as well. It's pretty cool. Batman Gotham Knights, though, are connected. It's connected. So it's like, but it's going backwards. So I think the first story is the story that is at the end of the narrative, and then you go backwards. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. I recommend, if you haven't seen it before, to watch at least once. Pretty cool.
Completely different. Each story had its own flavor, but the one that people still consider as the absolute peak of the whole...
It's a duology, right? No one actually like this. It technically is a trilogy, but really the first 2 movies are the ones that are good. And Normal Man looks the $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Normal Man. Appreciate it. Yes. It's a Nolan Batman is 2 good movies and 1 man movie. Yeah, because they I guess they're really resting on their haunches for the third one. Big time. They should have gone with the Riddler or something. I don't know why they went with Bane. It's just, and then made Bane part of the League of Shadows. What the hell? Why? I guess it's like, I can see the Nolan's thinking, like, this third movie in the franchise, right? We got to bring it back to the beginning. The end, it has to end like circular, like a cyclical thing. So I can understand, like, okay, we got to bring back the League of Shadows, but it didn't really look like it. Like, they mentioned the League of Shadows. The only like hint that the League of Shadows was ever involved was like having Talia al Ghul there. And that's about it. And we don't really know like how she got there, like how she infiltrated anything, how she just became this wealthy lady that just kind of gained Bruce's trust and stuff. And we never got that. We don't know how that happened. And it's like, why Bane? Why is Bane in there? That it feels like the League of Shadows thing was put on later. And they had like they had a whole Bane is leading a revolution thing, and then came along the League of Shadows. It was kind of tacked on, it felt. But anyway, it had a lot of problems, especially with Bruce Wayne being so passive and stuff. I don't know. It wasn't all that great. It felt so cluttered. It was like so much crap they're trying to pull off in this one movie. And John Doe says, objection, Dark Knight Rises is such a disappointment. It really kind of sucked. Bringing the whole trilogy down, it did. It just I used to like it. At least, like, I thought it was like a pretty cool third movie to it. Then I rewatched it later. It's like, whoa, this is actually pretty bad. Because I'd watched them all in a row again, like some time back. It's like, oh, Batman Begins, pretty good. The Dark Knight, really, really good. Dark Knight Rises, like, okay. I was like, here we go. Dark Knight Rises. I remember this one being pretty cool. And then I watched it again, and it's like, what is this? Is this retarded? What happened? What happened, Christopher Nolan? What happened?
The thing is the first one, where 4 teenagers all run.
See, John Doe, extra $10 super chat. Thank you very much, John Doe. Appreciate it. Let me see. Let me get this right over here. Fantastic. John Doe says the Batman animation is why Studio Dave had to do their own opening credits for JoJo Diamond is Unbreakable and Golden Wind. The opening credits studio was making Batman. Is this why? Because I do know, like, sometimes studios will usually get another studio to do the opening and closing credits so they can focus on the show. That's why the opening closing credits are like far more animated, because they're more focused at the time usually. But yeah, I guess that they had to make their own this time because they're making Batman. I mean, this is like a big project, and then, of course, they would want to work on Batman. That's pretty awesome.
Into Batman and tell the story of how it happened. But the thing is, each of them has a completely different version of what they saw. To one kid, Batman is a shadow vampire. To another, a mechanical monster. Unfortunately, the same stuff that makes it cool is also kind of the reason it doesn't always work. The 6 shorts are barely connected. In fact, it feels less like a movie and more like a Batman playlist kind of thing. Bruce Wayne's face is completely different every 15 minutes because each studio just did their own thing with this character. Some of the greatest villains in the entire Batman universe just kind of show up for a couple of seconds and that's it. And yet, a pretty significant chunk of comic fans will tell you this was actually a really cool surprise. Not perfect, but it was proof that anime studios and Western comics could make something genuinely interesting if you just let both of them do their thing. The Nolan Batman was immediately recognizable while still embracing the world of anime. Just like anime and comics, today's sponsor, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium, is what happens when you combine 200 IQ big brain stranger waiting for you. Unlike Gotham Knight, there are also times when an
Oh, there we go. There's a Batman Ninja.
adaptation does not care about the original at all. If there is one thing I think most of us can agree about Batman, is that he has no superpowers. Sure, the man is built like a truck and trained with ninjas, so obviously he's going to fight. But he's also a detective who uses careful observation and methodical planning. By the late 2010s, Warner Brothers and DC had just been kind of testing a ton of different Batman projects for different audiences.
Oh, think of of course, Bane couldn't escape the pit, but a little girl did. Yeah, I guess at that point, like Bane was too much in pain or something. I guess it's kind of the whole idea where he's like just in pain constantly. And I guess later she came back for him and gave him like some drugs. It's kind of weird that he's this aggro, but he's on painkillers. It's like, I guess that's what they came up with, where we can't have him have venom, right? So he's naturally strong, but we gave him painkillers. Like he has a mask on that just constantly pumps painkillers into his face, or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a twist. That certainly is a twist. Let's say here, chat. Normal Man. Thanks for that $10 super chat. Thank you much, Normal Man. Appreciate it. Very generous, little Normal Man. Let me go ahead and find the clip here. Thank you very much, Normal Man. Says watching a bunch of mecha shows right now, and I am starting to hate how modern shows animate the mechs with CGI, which is lame. When the mechs are the stars of those sorts of shows. Well, yeah, because when they kind of come up with the CGI and 3D animation for the mechs, they kind of look very stiff and what's it called? Uncanny Valley style. It's very jarring. It's looks so funny compared to the rest of the animation usually. Let's see. Thank you much, Normal Man. Appreciate it. Let's see.
And very different tones. The guy was everywhere. They knew the world of anime was doing very well, but they also knew their first attempt did not go very well. So, instead of making another faithful adaptation, they took every single element that made Batman, and said, fuck that shit. They assembled people who had worked on Kill la Kill, Afro Samurai.
Oh, here we go.
Completely and utterly unhinged anime that have absolutely no business being attached to a Batman project. And what came out of this was the Batman Ninja movie. Basically, a time machine just breaks down and transports Batman plus the entire Bat family plus a bunch of villains into feudal Japan. The whole thing is CGI, which, if you know literally anything about anime, is usually very, very bad news. But the studio's cel-shaded CGI basically completely sidesteps that garbage and looks awesome. The character designs are legit stunning. The way they fused Bat family aesthetics with samurai, ninja, and traditional attire should not work as well as it does. They experimented with different visuals, and there's even this one sequence mid-film where it switches to hand-drawn watercolor animation. The 85-minute runtime is just absolutely stuffed to the point of suffocation with characters and Easter eggs, and honestly, almost nobody gets any real development. The English dub and the Japanese version are practically different movies. The Japanese version plays like this theatrical, dramatic samurai film, while the English version is a self-aware superhero comedy packed with jokes. But the film's whole thing is commitment. They completely, without hesitation, embrace the art of anime.
I did hear that the English version is way different than the Japanese version. The English version was hilarious because you had a giant like Joker robot versus a Batman man of bats. It was pretty crazy and awesome.
There are castles that transforms into giant mechs.
Like, you know what? It's like what I've been saying is you don't really have to make it just because it's Batman does not mean it has to be super serious and crap. He's still a superhero, so kind of embrace a little bit of the goofiness. That's what made Batman the Animated Series so good. At least one part of it. One part of it is that Batman the Animated Series, yeah, it was dark, it was kind of serious, it was very dramatic. However, it was also had silly moments, very silly, cartoonish, and comic booky moments in there. It was like it didn't necessarily shy away from that. It used it to its advantage. But today, like a lot of Batman stuff is all about, we got to cut out we got to distance ourselves from the comic book stuff as much as we can because that's silly. It needs to be serious and dramatic.
Mechs, and then those mechs fight an army of monkeys who then assemble together into a giant monkey mech, which then turns into a giant Batman, all while the real Batman is casually doing ninja signs in the background. There is not a single moment where the film stops to ask whether any of this makes sense. And depending on who you are as a person, that is either the greatest thing they could have possibly done.
There's a giant Batman mech made out of bats.
Or the absolute hardest thing you're ever going to watch. If you're someone like me who doesn't know much about Batman lore going in, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be tough. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, if you are deeply attached to Batman and how it's supposed to be done, this movie might actually be your sleep paralysis demon in real life. But ultimately, the creative team clearly did something right because not only did they earn immediate respect, they got a sequel, which is about a mysterious version of Japan floating above Gotham City while corrupted versions of the entire Justice League have become leaders of powerful Yakuza clans. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are also times when DC adaptations feel much...
Oh, here we go. I think this is the isekai, I think.
More forced. After Batman Ninja clearly struck a nerve, Warner Brothers decided to keep expanding DC's anime presence. The first question was just which characters they should use. After all, DC has way more than just Batman. And the answer was pretty obvious, because the other DC thing that had been doing really well for them was Suicide Squad. The whole premise is that a bunch of criminals are sent on impossible missions.
Yeah, I like when you put like that. It's just like, okay, what's doing good for us? What's doing good for them? We put let's make one of our top selling things is Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad plus anime, go get that done. Plus isekai, of course. I just feel like it was made by the algorithm, and if you put like that, okay, what's doing good? Isekai is huge, anime is huge, and our biggest property right now is probably Suicide Squad because of James Gunn. Boom, put them all together. Go. We need to get that algorithm going.
That nobody else is insane enough to even try. And if they somehow survive, the explosive devices implanted in their necks are not turned on. Yay! The second question was what genre of anime they would go for. And if you have spent any meaningful amount of time in the anime community, you already know there is one type of anime that has been going through an absolute golden age, gaining more and more popularity every single year. And that is isekai. Stories where characters get transported out of their world.
And to the point where I think isekai is a standard anime now. It's like, okay, step one, isekai. Okay, now go. Make your anime.
And thrown into a completely different one. And that is how we got Suicide Squad Isekai. Very original. Apparently, the anime starts in a pretty similar way to the original thing, but then, instead of a normal mission, the villains get sent through a dimensional portal that goes into a full-blown high fantasy realm with elves, orcs, dragons, medieval kingdoms, very typical isekai stuff. In fact, every single generic medieval fantasy thing you could possibly imagine is there. As they're fighting their way through this fantasy war, they start to discover that other DC villains actually arrived in this world before they did. This means the anime is absolutely packed with fights, which, with Wit Studio on board, should have been an incredible thing. I mean, these were the people...
I was gonna try to watch this because it looked pretty interesting, I guess. But someone showed me like the ending credits where they have like what's her name, Amanda Waller, doing like a weird sexy dance. I'm like, that's weird. I'm not sure if I want to watch this. Dave Boy says, will be graced with Professor Pervert's presence today, LD. I'm not sure. I did send him the invite though.
Responsible for the early seasons of Attack on Titan and other pretty insane stuff. Sometimes it was exactly that, and other times it was not. At several points in the show, characters just stop mid-scene and break the fourth wall to explain out loud
What's this guy's crazy pink hair? What is this?
what isekai means directly to the audience. And look, I get it. You're
Several times? I feel like something you only need to do once. So normal man, this additional $5 super chat. Thank you much, normal man. It's a normal man says, feeling the need to explain Batman as peak video essay. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, absolutely. They were sure man says, Luna Fence says, wait, so the Page Master is an American isekai? Yes, so is Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz. But I would say that, yeah, Page Master, he's whisked off to another world, like a weird, strange fantasy world kind of sewn together in a Frankenstein manner between different kinds of stories and stuff. But kind of, yeah, it pretty much is an isekai. He gets back. He just gets back home afterwards.
probably just trying to appeal to DC
Unless you don't count dreams, because like all of those turn out to be like dreams in the end, maybe. Like the Wizard of Oz movie, like it turned out to be Dorothy's dream, and Alice in Wonderland turned out to be Alice's dream, and in Page Master it was the main character's dream. So or maybe it wasn't. We don't know. It's not definitive that it was their dream, but it was kind of hinted at it was, or they think it was. Something like that. So if you don't count dreams as isekai, it is just a dream, then it's not. But I think I would count it because they do go off to another world and have an adventure. And that's the entire movie. So they do technically go to another world and have an adventure in another world. So to me, that does count as isekai. Space Jam isekai as well. I think it's reverse though, right? Because it's like toons coming to the real world and playing space aliens in the real world. I think it's how that went.
fans who have never touched anime in their life. But in practice, it was tough. To a lot of people, it felt like a constant reminder that this show was desperately trying to serve two completely different audiences at the same time. A lot of people agree that there are some genuinely cool, goofy, fun moments scattered throughout, but the show never actually committed to them. The screenplay was co-written by the creator of ReZero, one of the most psychologically complex isekai.
Ooh. Oh man, that's a good sign. ReZero is really, really good. Like ReZero is a cut above the rest in terms of how much it does how well does characterization, the conflicts, how explores how explores the different characters, their meaning in the world, what they do, what their goals are, how they achieve them, the meaning of existence. Like it's so much stuff in ReZero. It does it really, really well. So, I mean, that does sound pretty good. Like getting the guy that writes ReZero to be in there. That sounds pretty good to me.
Ever made. But the psychological complexity was nowhere to be seen. It was one of those rare times when comic readers and anime enjoyers shook hands and agreed that they were witnessing pure mid. And one of the most obvious examples of LARPing. Sometimes, just like DC, other comic book houses like Marvel want to try making their own anime adaptations. But unlike DC, who kind of, dipped their toe and tried a thing or two, Marvel decided to produce 4 anime series and 2 anime movies.
Okay, I saw the Iron Man ones. Those I've seen.
Back to back. Now, by 2010...
Also, the Punisher, Black Widow, Confidential, or whatever it was called. I bought that one. That one's good. I like that. Okay, I'm not sure if it's good, but it was good to me. I liked it a lot. It was Punisher and Black Widow kind of teaming up to take on some secret organization. It was awesome because I like the Punisher and I like the Punisher teaming up with Black Widow. I like that team up. So I liked it. So I bought that one. It was pretty cool. The other ones I did. I think I saw the Iron Man one, at least one of the Iron Man ones. It was a long time ago, but I do remember seeing that. I did see some of that stuff, so I still remember the other ones. But the Black Widow, Punisher team up, I bought that one. That was good.
Marvel wasn't anywhere near the monster it eventually became once the MCU really took off. But they had a solid handful of things that had already done pretty well.
With Space Jam as a reverse Portal fantasy and traditional Portal fantasy, Michael Jordan is transported to the world of Looney Tunes and the Tunes into the real world to get I guess he goes back. Yeah, he does go to the world of Looney Tunes. Yeah, that's right. And he goes, but they come back and they have like the final playoff there, I think, right? Pretty sure.
The Blade movies, the X-Men movies, a Wolverine movie, and one Iron Man movie, which just so happened to be the film that started the entire MCU. So, that's exactly what they went with. The whole plan here was pretty clear. They were specifically targeting older audiences, and to do that, they partnered with Studio Madhouse. The people responsible.
I thought it was like Studio Mid. Yeah, we're Studio Mid. Let's go. Very 90 says anime did adapt some Marvel comics in 2011. There was Iron Man, Blade, Wolverine. So Blade, I think, would be a good anime. They should have, instead of spending like what 10 years trying to make that new stupid Blade movie, where they couldn't make it because they kept insisting that it be about his daughter for some reason instead of him. Instead of doing that, they should have gone like said, "Hey, we want to make a Blade anime." That'd be pretty awesome. They all vary. It's Wolverine and X-Men. They all varied in quality. X-Men was good. It's a normal man. Listen to the $5 super chat. Comics going to anime feels like an admission of defeat to be. Yeah, because me too. Absolutely. Because they're going crawl. They can't do it on their own. They have to go crawling to anime studios and Japanese studios to outsource their creativity. It's basically saying, we've given up. Save us. Save us, Japan. I also see it as an admission of defeat from Disney when they have to go crawling hands and knees to the Japanese saying, please, Disney crawling on their hands and knees to Japanese studios. It's like Yoda crawling on his hands and knees to Luke Skywalker saying, please help me, Luke. Help me, you will. It's like that. Like, what are you doing? Disney, do you not feel any shame? You taught Japan how to do animation, Disney. What are you doing? So, yeah, now that the DC is crawling hands and knees to Japan, Disney's crawling hands and knees to Japan because they have done what the West thought was too good for them and stayed stuck and innovated with 2D animation for decades. Instead of writing it off, they made it their bread and butter, essentially. So Japan is a lot of veterans, a lot of people who really know what their craft is. They have a whole setup of like in-betweeners and people who know how to write and direct and utilize animation, 2D animation to its fullest. And they know how to expertly cut corners. Like every single time they cut corners, they do it during like a dramatic scene. So, you know, it makes sense why the character would be stunned or a zoom in on the eye where it's like moving a little bit to emphasize the drama, but really nothing is happening and they're saving a ton of money. There's no real animation happening. They're saving a ton of money. All that we're really focusing on is the voice, you know, the what they're saying, the dialogue. So at the end, it's like, okay, that was awesome. We don't even notice that they're cutting corners. That's how good they are. And they're cutting corners in front of our faces and we still don't notice. It's pretty interesting. So that's how good they are over there in Japan. So the idea of DC and Marvel and Disney going, please, please, Japan, help us, save us, is embarrassing. It's really embarrassing for America. It's really embarrassing for some of our most legacy companies and our most legacy characters are having to beg Japan to be saved, to be bailed out. And Japan whispered no. In this case, they whispered yes, but they're doing it in a Chad way, though, because as we're seeing, like, you know, screw you, Disney or DC, we're going to make it our own way. So we're going to make Batman Ninja, and it's going to be Batman pulled into feudal Japan, and it's going to be awesome, and it was awesome. And so DC has to sit there in the cuck chair while Japan has its way with Batman. You should be embarrassed, DC. You should be embarrassed, Marvel, and you should be really embarrassed, Disney. You're all sitting in the cuck chair while Japan has its way with all of your properties. Nora Man, find out super says comics going anime feels like an admission of defeat. It really is. I think because it is. To me, it really is an admission of defeat.
Responsible for some small niche titles that nobody has ever heard of, like, Free Ren, Death Note, or One Punch Man. But honestly, at the time, Madhouse was already one of the most respected anime studios on the entire planet. And now, they had to produce 4 completely separate series, each one taking a different Marvel hero and reinterpreting them in a way that actually made sense for Japanese audiences.
And see, Normal Man, there's the father says, at the same time, I do want more X-Men anime, though. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I want a Punisher anime, and I want Marvel Knights. Give us Marvel Knights anime. Give us like a Punisher, like the Dark Avengers. Like, give us a series where Punisher, Ghost Rider, Blade, and what's the 4th guy? There's a 4th guy, but at least those 3 guys teaming up to fight bad guys. That'd be awesome. We need that. We need that definitely.
And I kid you not, the way they did that was literally by just putting all of these characters in Japan. For some of them, it was fine, but for others, it was just so dumb. For example, in the X-Men anime, the X-Men reunite in Japan to investigate missing mutant teenagers. It's just a mission that happens to take place there, so even though it's a little bit forced, it still kind of makes sense. But in Iron Man, Tony Stark travels to Japan to build a clean energy station and retire from being a hero. And for some reason, he just decides to live there and completely abandon America. Okay, the original villains created
See, hold on. Just in case you missed that, let's go back.
Retire from being a hero. And for some reason, he just decides to live there and completely abandon America.
Oh, the Japanese crazies dunking on Marvel list. Yeah, how about this? How about we have we make a series, an anime about Tony Stark coming to our country and then liking it so much he says, "Fuck you, America, I'm staying here." Cuck chair. It's happening in the cuck chair, Marvel. How about we having a good time in that cuck chair? I hope it's comfortable.
Okay.
While you sit back and watch Japan have its absolute way with Tony Stark and Iron Man, it's completely at Japan's mercy. They can just do whatever. You know what? If Japan walks in and goes, you know what? Tony Stark is ours now. He's in Japan and he loves it better here than he does in America. Fuck you. And then Marvel has to go, yes, dear.
Original villains created specifically for these series were generic, forgettable, and unbelievably lame. Comic fans absolutely lost their minds over Madhouse's redesign of Wolverine. To this day, that thing is genuinely still considered one of the biggest crimes ever committed against them.
And that makes it even worse. They say worse. Japan's like, we don't care. We're just gonna do what we want. That's the beauty of it. They're still going to anime. They're still crawling to Japan and anime studios even after all this. It's really funny because it's kind of like the being the cuck and the lover of you watching like your wife getting on with another dude. In this case, Japan, and Japan is not even better than you. In fact, he's like less successful and older, balding. He's like, you're better than him in every way, but they still choose Japan instead. That's what it's like. Like Marvel is like, fit and clean cut, have a nice haircut, makes more money than Japan. But Japan is like older, fat, and balding, but they still choose Japan over you. You're the one still in the cuck chair at the end of the day. All right, that's what it's like. That's why it's extra embarrassing for them. They should be able to do all this great stuff. They have so much money and support and power, but still, they still go to Japan. They still go crawling to Japan, and that's what makes it extra funny. Let's see. Normal Man is find as a proper high school shonen Spider-Man or X-Men would do numbers. Oh, that'd be pretty cool, actually. Like a proper like a Japanese or anime style like school drama, like high school shonen. That'd be pretty interesting, I think. Yes. And see, I think that'd be pretty good. Pretty good idea.
Marvel community. But what makes the whole thing even funnier is that the Wolverine in the Wolverine series and the Wolverine in the X-Men series look like two completely different beings. The general agreement was that they actually did a pretty decent job of honoring what made these characters work in the first place. But if you remove the Marvel logo, you are left with a bunch of generic action anime. Until, of course, the first Avengers movie dropped and suddenly everything changed. Now, there was a new opportunity to make a genuinely creative and thoughtful anime that honored the source material and pushed the medium forward in exciting new ways, and definitely not just a way to make some cash, right? If you had been on planet Earth at any point during the 2010s, you already knew who the Avengers were. At that point in time, this was the single most recognizable superhero brand in history, and the MCU had every human eyeball in a complete and total chokehold. This time, Marvel decided they needed a completely different approach. Specifically, they wanted to make something for younger kids. And their strategy for doing that was genuinely amazing. Basically, they just looked at every single mainstream anime element that had ever worked and put it together. The animation studio behind the biggest anime of all time? Check. The toy manufacturing giants who have been printing money off of children for decades? Check. A concept based entirely around capturing creatures that live inside small plastic pieces of garbage, exactly like Pokemon? Check. In theory, all the elements were there for Marvel Disc Wars to succeed. In theory. Basically, there's a scientist who works for Tony Stark and develops something called the Digital Identity Securement Kit, also known as DISC. But then, Loki shows up, messes up the entire system, and turns it against the hero. So now, instead of villains being trapped inside the discs, the Avengers are trapped inside the discs. And then, 5 children accidentally get special powers that let them temporarily summon their assigned hero.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. All right. So if you look at Clark's World, like this, which is a really interesting magazine, the sci-fi fantasy magazine, they have a list of things that you shouldn't do. And one of those things is, well, at least they won't consider. And one of those things is a group of kids find anything. In no way should any story include a group of kids are playing one day and find something. It could be anything, like an old relic, a sword, whatever. Like we don't really want that. We don't really want the whole thing to star, a group of kids doing anything when it's superheroes. I mean, that can work in, like, I don't know, the Goonies or something. But when it's superheroes or sci-fi or something like that, usually you don't want to go that route.
Summon their assigned hero out of the disc. So now, these literal children have to travel the world to recover scattered hero and villain discs.
This sounds retarded. This is dumb. What the hell? They went the wrong direction with this one, I think. Was this successful? Because it sounds retarded to me.
Other assigned Avengers spend the majority of every single episode.
And the more retarded these anime are, the more I laugh, because that means to me, the more they're cucking Marvel and DC and stuff. You don't have to try. It's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do whatever. Yeah, fuck you. Sit down and cry, Marvel. All right, we're gonna have our way with your characters. Megalithon, thanks for the $5 super chat. Yes. Let's see. High School X-Men exists. 2000s Wolverine and the X-Men. Their show that bases many young men, Kitty or Rogue. I remember the 2000s one, the 2000s X-Men cartoon. I like that one. I thought it was pretty cool. It came on when it was airing. It came on around the same time as Yu-Gi-Oh! So I was watching both, like in the evening, not the Saturday morning cartoon one, but in the evening. I think the new episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Came on later. Back when Battle City came up, it became like a Saturday morning cartoon. At least to me, it did. Because it aired freshly on Saturday morning. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Did during the Battle City era. So I couldn't believe that I did that every week for the entire season. It was crazy because it was like I went back and watched, binge watched some of the Battle City episodes. Like, man, I had to wait a whole week between these. And some of these just like nothing happens. I remember actually being pretty angry when the helicopter episode came up, where there's just like Yugi and Kaiba riding in a helicopter and doing a clip show. And it was like between this news that Joey has been taken over and everything. I was like, what the hell is this? But it was really dumb. Yeah. I could just, by premise alone, I could tell. It's like, okay, so your heroes are now like Pokemon or something. I choose you. This is retarded. This is dumb. No one said no. No one heard this and said that's dumb. This is why Marvel is so cucked here. Like this is a Japanese victory because Marvel's heard this and said, "Yes, yes, dear." Oh, you want to turn our superheroes into Pokemon for kids to use? Yes, dear. No one said no to this. Marvel had no power to say this is dumb and retarded. Like that. They just had to sit down in that cuck chair and watch this, huh? They watched this. They came up with, hey, let's turn your heroes into Pokemon, and they said nothing. Okay, interesting. Like if I said this sounds like it had a studio interference, the type that gives notes. Are responsible for subpar series and movies because of some reason or another. Case in point, Hobbit movies. Probably. I mean, there's usually some studio interference, and sometimes it really ruins things. And then Ball says, having seen Marvel Disc Wars, I can say that it is definitely 6 out of 10. Not great, but better than anything that came out of post Endgame. Well, that's a low bar, I have to say. It's a post Endgame was just a wasteland of creativity. There's just none of it there. They had no idea what the hell to do after Thanos was taken down. No idea whatsoever.
Sitting in their pockets. I'm not gonna lie, over the course of 51 episodes, the emotional bonds that develop between the kids and their heroes are actually kind of touching sometimes. And the sheer volume of Marvel characters that just cycle through this thing is honestly pretty insane. But here's the thing. At its core, the anime existed to sell toys. These devices designed to safely imprison supervillains inside pocket-sized containers were literally just the plastic pieces of garbage they were trying to sell. Which, fine, other anime do that too. But that kind of premise works when the things you're collecting are hundreds of mysterious creatures that nobody has ever seen before. Strange, unknown beings waiting to be discovered. Not a handful of famous superheroes. Underneath all of that, you could just feel Marvel desperately trying to LARP to capitalize on a trend that was already well established. Because of that, unlike Beyblade or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or basically every comparable children's hobby anime, this one never took off.
I remember that duel. It was like Duke Devlin and Rebecca facing off against one guy. How did they lose? Because because Rebecca's supposed to be like a genius and I think she was like an international champion. Like she took over for Bennett Keith, who was the previous international champion or whatever. And then also Duke Devlin, who beat Joey. I mean, granted, Joey didn't have his, actual deck with him, but he still beat Joey. So to me, it's like, oh man, I know Joey isn't even in this duel, but you just kind of knocked Joey down 3 pegs by having Duke Devlin lose in a 2-on-1 duel where he has a teammate against one guy and he lost. I guess Joey does redeem himself later because he does beat this guy, but it just drains him completely.
Anime, this one never took off. There are also times when comic book studios like Marvel learn from their mistakes and come back with a new adaptation that feels authentic and respectful. No, I'm kidding. You see, after Marvel Disc Wars, Marvel didn't just stop trying to make anime. Several years later, they looked back at everything that had happened and landed on the completely reasonable conclusion that the third time would be the charm. And this time, they came in with one single...
Isn't it a new one? I think I did see some of it. What was it called? It's something new movie. It's something else. Someone sent it to me. But I didn't watch all of it. Not yet, anyway. What was it called? 7 Heavens, right? 7 Heavens? 7 Havens?
Clear directive that was going to fix everything. Make it feel like a proper...
By the way, chat, we're just $8 away from being halfway to Pillarman, and if that happens, chat, we will get Pillarman, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX this weekend, and an extra video. I got another WoW video to show you at the end of all this. So if we make it to Pillarman, just $58 more, and $8 more to be halfway there. We will watch another video that's I think will be very interesting on the topic of World of Warcraft.
Shonen anime. Think Naruto, Jujutsu Kaisen, classic fighting and adventure series built for teenagers, which, of course, was the other big genre that was very popular in anime. And that is how Marvel Future Avengers was created. This was the story of three teenagers who spend their entire lives on.
So the Marvel was like, oh, this sucks. Oh man, the anime studios keep destroying us. We cuck to them, and they keep making these, bomb after bomb. But let's keep going back. let's keep letting him cuck us.
An island where this evil organization had spent every single day convincing them that what they're doing is heroic and good, and that the Avengers are the bad guys. Until one day, all of this kind of falls apart because they find out the organization is Hydra, and they are just test subjects that have been brainwashed since birth to become weapons. So they escape, the Avengers show up, they rescue them, they realize the teenagers have powerful, unstable abilities and nowhere else to go, so they establish a trainee program for them to become the future Avengers. The thing with this Avengers anime is that the actual Avengers, as in the people whose name is on the title, get repeatedly sidelined so the teenage rookies can swoop in and save the day. And look, I could probably be kind of okay with this if the three new main characters weren't just the most predictable collection of generic anime archetypes I have ever seen. You've got the loud hothead, the aloof but secretly protective female lead, and of course, the quiet, mysterious genius. If you are an anime fan,
they don't care. Just put some whatever in there. I put the tropes. Just put tropes in there. I just whatever. Just throw a bunch of tropes, throw them in there, and we'll sell it to Marvel. They don't care. They'll just eat eat up whatever. I'm pretty sure that these anime studios just took them for a ride. That's what it feels like to me. It's like but even when they're trying to take Marvel for a ride, they're still pretty good. Like they still because even their lowest level of quality is surprisingly high compared to what Marvel would give us themselves. It's a normal man. Thanks to the $5 super chat. So the trailer for the new Avatar show dropped, and I can't believe they're going with Korra destroying the planet. I rolled the floor laughing. Yeah, what a great Avatar. Yeah, just Korra destroyed the planet. That's pretty funny. That is pretty good. Norman, I think we should really much Norman. Appreciate it. Yes. All right, let's go.
Watching this, Future Avengers is just a worse version of pretty much every other shonen you have ever seen in your life. Sometimes it's not DC or Marvel who get anime adaptations. Sometimes it's smaller independent houses. And that
here's the thing, though, is just I learned Futurama that new brave things make people feel scared. All right, we don't want to see anything new. We want to see the same thing we've seen 100 times before. All right, so that was probably a good idea on their end.
That is usually when we get some real hidden gems. For example, Witchblade. The original comic book is the story of an ancient supernatural gauntlet that attaches itself.
Was this also a video game? I think I've seen this video game, actually.
To a female host and grants her immense powers. In the original comic, that host is Sarah Pezzini, a tough New York City detective.
Wait, that's her name? Wait a second. 1 second here. Sarah Pezzini. That's pretty good.
Pezzini, a tough New York City detective who is just trying to do her job while simultaneously navigating supernatural threats. When the original comic creators partnered with Studio Gonzo, they made one creative decision that I think completely separates this adaptation from basically everything else we've talked about on this list. They did not adapt the original main character's story. You see, the Witchblade's lore establishes one detail that turns out to be incredibly important. The gauntlet has been passing through history continuously for centuries. Joan of Arc apparently wielded it at some point. Sarah is just the current chapter of a story that has been going on for a very, very long time. And because of that, a future Japanese...
The Darkness is also pretty cool. I mean, that's a very intriguing and interesting franchise. Darkness, that's pretty good.
His holder wasn't that big.
He's like a mafia guy, right? He's like a mafia hitman or something like that, but he got supernatural powers. I think one of the games has it where you can like hang out with your girlfriend and literally watch the entire movie. Like it's not like you skip past it. There's a whole movie you can watch in that game from start to finish.
Of a stretch. The main character here wakes up after a massive earthquake with literally zero memory of who she is. And somehow, in the middle of all that, she ends up raising this little girl as her own daughter. The government decides they want to take this girl away from her, but she awakens something called the Witchblade and becomes this thing. She then gets recruited for certain special missions in exchange for keeping
Oh, hold on. Why was I muted? I'm back now. But yeah, fifth edition, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says morning LD. Listens to LD talking about cucking Marvel and DC and enjoying it. Looking around and don't see Stu anywhere. Well, Stu is not here in his presence, and he's here in spirit. But there we go. Yeah, I don't know why I was muted. I don't remember muting myself. We're back, chat. We're back. Let's see. All right, got this. But yeah, that's essentially, like, creatively speaking, that's what they've done. They've cucked themselves. And it's made all the worse by the fact that the anime studios didn't always do such a great job, but it still went crawling back to him.
Her daughter safe. I'm not gonna lie, from the outside, this could look like a massive fan service action anime. And like, yeah, do not watch this anywhere. But then, it kind of shockingly becomes a genuinely devastating and beautiful story about motherhood, love, and sacrifice. All the legendary elements of the original comic were gone. New York is gone. The gothic occult atmosphere, some of the characters that are basically pillars of the comics just don't exist here. But most fans actually agreed that was good. The adaptation understood it wasn't trying to be the comic. It told its own story, and it told it well without spitting on what came before it.
Let's see. By the way, we got a Streamlabs of $2 super Streamlabs from Miso Honey. They retweeted this says, if there's time, you can watch the Madhouse Iron Man anime teaser trailer. They made another one. It's short, or is it the old one? It's short, awesome, and way better than the actual anime. Skip ahead to 40 seconds if you do watch it. I think we'll keep that in mind. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
People even went as far as saying it was better than the original. And over time, this show quietly got a hidden gem reputation, sitting on my anime list with a much better score than most of the other comic book adaptations out there. There are also times when adaptations decide not to add any Japanese elements whatsoever. Back in 2000,
oh, here we go. What's
other
this?
comic book adaptations out there. There are also times when adaptations decide not to add any Japanese elements whatsoever.
Oh, yes. What's it called? Super Criminals? Yeah. The best dance.
However, back in 2017, Netflix had just bought Mark Millar's entire comic publishing company because they basically kind of wanted superhero stuff they could turn into content. They put some serious money into a live-action adaptation of Jupiter's Legacy,
And that one got cut. I think that one got canceled.
which is another Miller property. And they wanted something animated to run alongside it to flesh out the villain side of that universe. And Super Crooks fit perfectly. The premise is about low-tier supervillains trying to pull off a heist in a world that has so many superheroes that committing a crime has basically become impossible.
Oh man, I had this idea too. I also had this idea of like combining Godfather with the Punisher. Like, what if we had like a Michael Corleone who's trying to deal with the inner politics of the five families of the mafia dons, and then also has to catches the eye of the Punisher. Like if you read the storyline Frank, Welcome Back Frank, where it's like Manucci and everything has to suddenly Manucci and the Nucci family have to deal with the Punisher. It's like that. So it's like if Michael Corleone had to deal with the Punisher and the pressure of the five families after his dad got assassinated. I had that idea too. Like, what if we this is a petty criminal in a world of superheroes? Let's see. David Musselman, thanks for the $5 super chat. Thank you much, David Musselman. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Yes. And see, did you see the new Gundam trailer called Zard Zero, I think? Is that the new one? Looks nothing like Gundam? Because if that's it, then I have seen it. It's like it looks like a video game of some. Like, you have to tell me it was Gundam for me to like, oh, that's Gundam. But if that's it, then I have.
Netflix gave this adaptation to Studio Bones, the same studio that made My Hero Academia and Full Metal Alchemist, and it shows. The opening credits are just characters doing this fluid dance sequence. The designs are great, the animation is great, and there's this jazz-infused electronic score that gives the whole thing a very cool atmosphere. The thing that makes it work is the fact that it's not about the heroes. It's about people just trying to survive a world where heroes exist. The crew itself is genuinely fantastic, and their chemistry is very fun. The original comic was only 4 issues long, so what they did was use the first 9 of the 13 episodes as entirely original material that wasn't in the comic whatsoever. Ultimately, Netflix's whole plan with Mark Millar's company didn't really work out. Most of the projects they announced either got cancelled or just kind of came and went without anyone really caring that much. But Super Crooks made it and became the most well-received adaptation out of the entire initiative. And finally, there are also times when an adaptation completely changes the original story, but it still slaps. Scott Pilgrim is a series of 6 graphic novels about Scott Pilgrim, a 23-year-old dude who plays bass in a band, does absolutely nothing with his life, and then falls in love with this girl called Ramona Flowers. This sounds like the beginning of a pretty normal story. He has to defeat her 7 evil exes in video game-style martial art battles. It's one of these stories that just does not make sense unless you see it. But trust me, it works. In fact, it worked so well that they decided to make a movie out of it, which completely bombed. But over the course of like a decade, this movie that nobody saw quietly became one of the most beloved cult films of a generation. But the problem is that it took 6 dense graphic novels and compressed all of that into 2 hours. So the author looked at all of that 15 years later and decided he wanted to animate the whole thing again. He partnered with Science Saru to animate it. These are the people behind some of the most chaotic, expressive, visually weird animation you will ever see. And that energy matched Scott Pilgrim's artwork perfectly.
Let's see. Look at what you saw was a game trailer. David Musselman is talking about a different trailer. Oh, I haven't seen it then. That's the one I haven't seen that because I remember watching that strange. Like, what the hell is this? Like, is this Gundam? How's this Gundam? Is it they fight monsters or something like that? Like, that's not Gundam. That's what I know of.
The entire original film cast came back to voice their characters, and we are talking about some big movie stars. Scott.
See, Shadowing Tronic says, I have a lot to do and I'm already running late. Have a great weekend, LD and chat. We'll have a great weekend. You too as well. Shadowing Tronics. Hope it's fantastic. Now get going.
Scott Pilgrim takes off. Started exactly like the original thing. Scott meets Ramona at a party. He becomes immediately and completely obsessed with her. He fights her first evil ex, but then he loses and disappears. In episode 1, people genuinely did not see this coming. With Scott gone, the show became Ramona's story, which is not what happens in the comics. She was investigating Scott's disappearance by working through each evil ex herself. In the original, these guys existed just as, entertaining obstacles. But they were arguably the most interesting part of the franchise. Every single one of them is this distorted reflection of a different version of Ramona's past. And with the anime, they finally had room to develop. If you look at the original Scott Pilgrim honestly, it's a story about a pretty selfish dude who moves through the world treating everyone around him like supporting characters in his own story. Apparently, the author noticed that about his own earlier work and removed Scott from the center of his own story to ask, what does everyone else's life actually look like when he's not there? And the fact that he was willing to do that with his own most beloved work and just interrogate it is something fans had a lot of respect for. For some people who were expecting just the original story, this was not a pleasant surprise. But those who knew the source material deeply mostly loved it because they understood what it was doing and why. The faithful I
guess you could say, like, okay, well, you have the rig of the story, and here's an interesting, look at the story if Scott Pilgrim wasn't there. Like, a what if?
Adaptation would have been kind of pointless because the film already existed. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off did something different. And in the end, it kind of accomplished everything a good comic book anime adaptation could accomplish. It adapted its story while changing it in a way that made sense and respected the art of anime.
Oh yes, it's an interesting journey. It is a really interesting journey with the adaptation. The Western studios going crawling to anime studios for help and a bailout. All right, chat. Well, we're not done yet for today. We're not quite done. We still got a lot of stuff to go over. Let's check it out, chat. Let's go move on to the next one. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So let's see what this has to do with anything. The heteroslop, quote unquote heteroslop, a new way straight relationships in anime to attack them. Yeah, it's just the new term. The two like demonize, like, oh, I can't believe you, this is all heteroslop. Like, it's not Hetslop, it's normal. It's a normal way to go. All right. I know people on Twitter try to treat like heterosexuality and homosexuality kind of the same. They're not, because heterosexuality is objectively normal, because you have to have that for the species to continue. It's normal. It's ingrained in your DNA. All right. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's why like anything with homosexuality has to be like maybe PG-13 or R or something like that. And that's why it's usually niche, because it's not normal. The normal mainstay is heterosexuality. So the idea that it's Hetslop is just weird and strange. It's a term that can only come up in a world where everything is gay. And so the mainstay is that you are gay or bi, and if you're straight, then you're kind of either relegated to the sidelines or bad in some way, because straight is evil. Let's check it out.
You know, maybe this is a good thing after all. We got to look at the silver lining. If the grifters and the tourists are now hating anime because it's popular, then we can get rid of them and we can have our utopia back. One of the things that I was thinking about after I had made...
Here's the thing. Yeah, it's kind of true, because as we've seen, the whole wish of like, I wish my niche hobby when mainstream was actually like a genie's wish, a monkey's paw or something like that. Like, just, okay, sure. But in fact, you're going to get exactly what you want. It's going to go mainstream. And then there's going to be a bunch of normies who come in and ruin it, because normies ruin everything they touch, because normies fall for everything. That's how we saw yesterday, how World of Warcraft, fell, right? 1 second, actually. You know what? Someone sent me a very interesting video. Let me see if I can find it. But normies do ruin everything, because they're not there for the franchise. They're there because it's popular. And so they're going to just, I can spend a little bit more money to make things easier. I could spend a little bit more money to get this thing or that thing, whatever it might be. They'll fall for all the corporate tricks because they don't care. It's like, oh, the corporation is making things more convenient for me. They don't care about the integrity of the IP. They just care about what I can get, what makes things easier for me. That's what they care about. So they're going to bring in their modern day corporate sanitized sensibilities, and they're going to like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We need more gay relationships in this franchise. We need more minorities. We need more diversity. They're going to bring in all that stuff, and when the companies bring in that stuff, the normies are going to lay down the money to get it, to support it. It's unfortunate, but that's how normies help destroy things. They come in, they just slobber all over the IP, and like, oh, make room for us, the normies. And what happened after that? Well, that's what happens. They started flooding it with money, and corporations are starting to adhere to the mainstream corporate sanitization, and sooner or later it becomes this corporate slop. That's kind of what happens. It has become so sanitized, it just never ever returns to normal. It becomes ruined, because normies will just fall for anything because they don't care. They don't care. And where is this thing? Someone sent me. Did I delete it? Like, what is it? Where'd it go? Maybe I sent it over here. I wonder if I sent it over here. I've been trying to look for it. I can't find it anywhere. Let's see. But there was one thing I did find. I can't. It's just a whole. But that's the whole topic's a whole off topic. But You know what? We'll continue watching this, and I'll try to find it.
Made the video about Mushoku Tensei and about a lot of the recent hate that it has been getting between the articles after articles after articles from different places, the amount of videos coming from individual content creators that proclaim to be anime fans. But every time you look at them, all they care about is either Showman Slop or just the current top 1% trending animes out there and don't care for anything else. And it's more just a trend chase. I started to realize that when you look at things like Hetslop, right? That's a new word that's come in, or at least it's become more new in the spotlight, right? It's not exactly a new word because it has been around, but it's never really been used in this wide scale. And I think when you look at places like Reddit, which are run by absolute psychopaths that are on.
Oh, this guy knows Reddit is run by weirdos and psychos. So I mean, he's probably pretty on the ball. I found a chat. I had to look it up on my own, but I found it. 1 second. It's like, here it is. So this is what happens when normies come into anything. They just they are a cancer. Like they really are a plague upon anything, any IP, any niche IP they come in contact with. They are like the typhoid Marys. Normies are basically like typhoid Mary coming into any IP they ever touch, because any IP normies ever touch will just crumble into dust, wither, and die. And here we go. Here's a pretty good animation that is really short, so it won't take too long. But it really shows you the process. It's a normal man. There's the $5. I hope your hobby goes to mainstream. It's a meme because it's true. Like, may your hobby go mainstream, because then normies will glob onto it. I think they'll just glob onto it. Like you know how bees kill things? The bees will just like swarm a giant bug or something, and then they'll just vibrate until it cooks alive. That's how normies treat any IP. They'll just glob onto it and they'll vibrate with whatever they vibrate with until the IP is literally cooked. Check this out. Remember that? You play World of Warcraft, you just like you get in there, you make some friends, like, oh, it's cool, let's go adventuring together. It's pretty awesome. You had to work for everything. It felt like you really you do a quest, feel like you accomplish something. Remember Ragnaros? Ragnaros is like the first like really big raid boss that they put in Molten Core. That was fun. Yeah, it was huge. Like you had to get like what 20, 40 people to go in there. I think it was 40, and then later on they had dungeons we can do 20. But I think it was 40, right? And you had to make guilds. Yeah, they had to be in like a guild, especially a guild that kind of specialized in raiding because they know what to do and all the things they had to do. But it's Ragnaros. Yeah, it was right. This Ragnaros was the first boss and stuff. It was cool. It was a cool conquest. Oh yeah, the hammer. You had to forge the hammer. Or you had to forge the hammer of Ragnaros. Like you gave it to your main guy. It was pretty awesome. Because Burning Crusade, it was still pretty good at the time Burning Crusade came out. And Wrath of Lich King, the Normal Man Looks Survive says normies are like the sardines. Yeah, exactly. They're like the sardines that SpongeBob episode. Yeah, exactly. They come in they just are mindless hordes. Yeah, absolutely. Here comes the normies. Yeah, give us that. Whatever crap you shove in our faces, we'll buy. Yeah. Then that encourages them to do more of this stuff. And then sooner or later, just oh yeah, let me start a character and just buy my way to 100 to level 100, right? Then more and more and more, and then everyone goes away because like the game is boring now. Why work when I could just pay for the top tier stuff, and then why play after I get the top tier stuff? It wasn't even as bad as it is today, where now today you have the normies flood in and they start concern trolling everywhere. Like, this is offensive, isn't it? This one thing is offensive. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is actually in the show. Can we stop that? Can we ruin this, please? Can we get this out of here? It's so offensive. Think of the children. Like, why are children in this IP? Get them out of here. Not everything has to be relegated down to the lowest common denominator, okay? Not everything has to be made with children in mind. Sometimes some things are just for adults or older people, or maybe young adults or whatever. All right, not everything has to be made with families in mind. All right, sometimes they're just kind of there to be fun. There might be some weird things in there. I mean, these people would not survive classic literature where there's strange things that happen all the time. There's weird things that would be offensive today that happen all the time. They would not be able to survive classic literature. It just wouldn't. And then we get the classic service back, right? It's like, oh my goodness, classic WoW. Hooray! But then Burning Crusade Portal Pass. There's the normies waving their money, these low IQ, brain dead normies. Oh, I'll buy it. Give me the money. I want to go right to the Burning Crusade. Give me the money. Or give me the crusade. I'll give you the money. Here, shit. Basically, they're all this Fry, right? This Fry from Futurama. Shut up and take my money. Like, I'll take 10 of them. Like, where's the fun? Everyone's just buying the way up. So what do you actually do? What is there left to do? And that's what happens when normies get into anything. They ruin everything with because they fall for everything. Like the corporation puts out whatever, they'll eat it up. They'll eat it up. They don't want to earn anything. They just want to buy their way to the top, whatever it might be. Oh, you want to come out with like a new hat that's $50? Yep, here comes the normies to shell out $50 for a retired hat. Of course, because it's quirky. Anyway,
power trips, now they run their own little Discord communities and they all have their power trips over there, and they try and moderate and gatekeep who they believe are the right content creators to listen to, which I think is kind of ironic in itself. The very same people that hate gatekeeping are the very same people that have been trying to gatekeep for years, but now stop using big words when writing novels. Take your ableism big. Exactly. And also the whole thing where they just skip over dialogue to get right back into the story or something, even though dialogue is important. Usually, it's supposed to be anyway. And they don't like gatekeeping when others start to gatekeep them back. That's a whole separate topic as well that I've talked about in some degree throughout the last year or so. But when you look at all these new buzzwords flying around on Reddit, like Hetslop and all that, and then you look at this resurgence of kind of like hate trending, right? I feel like hating anime has become kind of popular, but they're the very same people that will say, oh, I love anime. I just hate everything except these one specific types of shows, which they then try and weaponize and politicize or twist into whatever abomination they want. You only need to look at things like Free Ren, Apothecary Diary, which, by the way, love both of them. But you will see certain groups out there, like on Reddit, that will try and twist it into this tool to try and spearhead their own sort of hatred towards certain groups. It's like They don't really like the animes themselves. They simply like the idea of
They want to complain about it. And I think this is not really like totally organic, because I think this is taught in college. Like we see this in college, people like come out of college seeing media as things to look at, to find things to find offense towards. Now I know that it kind of seems parallel with what people who criticize woke do, but it's when it comes down to media, it's like, okay, I want to watch this movie. Oh, it's full of woke crap. I don't want to watch stuff with woke crap in it. It's like you're putting in stuff that's nasty and gross, right? You give me a steak with poop on it. That's why I'm complaining about it. But these people coming they freshly out of college and they have these degrees, they think they're really intellectual and everything. They're coming out of college having learned skills to go look at a masterpiece, for example. This is what they've done. They look at Lord of the Rings or something, and they'll find things to get offended about it. So to me, this is worse. It's not the same. It's like, oh, there's bad people on both sides. No, there's no both sides thing going on. These guys are way worse than anyone who complains about woke. Anyone. It's way worse. I know the popular thing is to go to try to make it seem like people who complain about woke are this is bad or worse. It's not. Because people who complain about woke have legitimate grievances. These people coming out who try to find offense in movies, they've been taught that way. I think they've been taught that way in college. That's what it seems like. That because this is everywhere, mainstream, everywhere you see in the mainstream. It's not about enjoying movies anymore. It's about how woke is it, or how diverse is it, how multicultural is it, how much does it adhere to the mainstream corporate ideology. It's like that. So they're coming out, not looking at these media literacy folk are coming out of college, kind of like they're looking at media not in a way to appreciate what they're doing. They're looking at it to measure how woke it is, how non-offensive it is, how much it placates to someone's identity or ideology. Oh, this is right wing. Well, we hate it. That's why they hate Lord of the Rings. They've never read Lord of the Rings. I'm pretty sure they haven't even watched Lord of the Rings. They just know that it's right-wing coded, and so they hate it. Right? They just hate it on that principle alone. Pretty sure. So that's what I think it's what they've been taught. So I don't think it's entirely organic. It's like they learned this in school and in college these days to look at media not as stories to be appreciated, but things to look for, things to be offended by. I think that's where it's coming from. Like, oh, this is a completely homophobic or transphobic, or this character is a racist or something like that because he made a joke once. That's what they're looking at it as. They don't know how to appreciate film. They don't know how to appreciate stories. They're just looking at, oh, this is really well done because it promotes communism or something like that. So all these media literacy folk, they don't really know how to appreciate or understand stories. They ironically have no media literacy. They have no media literacy at all. See, is Lord of the Rings right-wing? I wouldn't say so. I never thought of it that way. But they see it as that way now because a lot of right-wing people kind of like it. And there's no diversity in the Jackson films. Not really. And it's about good and evil instead of, how bad white people are. Or how great communism is or something like that. So they hate it. But that's the way it goes, I guess. But yeah, I think these people who are coming out of university or unironically use the term media literacy are coming in and they use media. They view movies, TV shows, whatever it is, as they don't go in the mindset of appreciating good narratives. They go in the mindset of how much does it cater to my sensibilities? How woke is it? How non-offensive is it? And that's way worse than anyone. In fact, it's way worse than everyone who complains about wokeness put together. It's way worse than that because they have changed how movies and comic books are made, TV shows are made, because now they're being made with that mindset as the core principle, the core guiding principle. Okay, we're making a movie. We got to make it as inoffensive as possible. We got to make it as woke as possible because then people won't complain about it. Then we'll be allowed to continue making stuff. So that's kind of what it seems like.
Taking something of someone else's and then trying to use it as a tool.
You can see like a lot of races, like in the the main thing of Lord of the Rings, especially in the Fellowship of the Rings, it's about elves, dwarves, and humans coming together, which was insane because at that point in time, like, they all hate each other, I think, or they had some animosity, especially between dwarves and elves. But all three of them had animosity towards each other. And the whole idea of like hobbits and wizards and humans, elves and dwarves getting together as a one fellowship to work together for a common goal was pretty crazy in the world of Lord of the Rings. But that doesn't count because they're all white. And so they don't see dwarves, elves, and humans getting together. They see a bunch of white people getting together and working together. And yeah, that's why it's partly why it's considered right-wing coded.
To end up destroying other people's joy and pleasure. And this is what I mean about the word Hetslop. I think we're starting to see not just a pattern of hating anime, but people that have never liked anime trying to insert themselves into a community and try and use and turn anime into a tool and a weapon to try and use it to attack the very people that love and enjoy anime. And I think it's not just new people entering in as well. It's content creators and fans that have been in the community for 5, 10, 15, 20, potentially more years that are more now taking what maybe was their original passion and going, no, I'm now going to weaponize this and use this to try and attack people. And there are many content creators that I believe that are trying to do that throughout the years. I mean, I've spoken about some of those recently, right? There's specific podcasts, specific content creators, specific video essays out there where you can kind of really see the hatred and animosity they have towards the wider anime community. And if they don't make the appropriate things, and again, it's all about problematic topics and touchy topics and mature themes, and if it doesn't fit certain rainbow checkboxes, it instantly starts getting attacked. And you can even see that within gaming as well. You look at different gotcha games. The gotcha community is absolutely riddled with these kinds of problems, where you see these individuals that jump into these kinds of games that are made for generally a male demographic, and there's nothing wrong with women enjoying it, right? But then these certain other individuals would jump in and try and put in their head canon or their little ship or twist the story or attack the author or attack artists that don't do things in a certain way. And I think the reality is that you look back to a high school mindset, but you kind of change it a little bit. Imagine a kid mindset of trying to chase whatever's currently popular. Anime has become unpopular. It's gone through multiple waves of popularity increases, but they don't actually like anime. They have a lot of hatred towards it. They just don't enjoy it, but they want to force themselves to enjoy something so that they can fit into a group. And rather than enjoying it for what it is or just moving on, if they don't enjoy it, they have to warp it, change it, twist it. And this can also account for people that have liked anime for years, but have grown to dislike anime or just don't like certain aspects and are trying to, again, do the very same thing. And I think that's what I'm seeing, at least from my perspective. And if you see a different perspective, definitely tell me in the comment section down below. I may do a follow-up addressing some of those. But I think we're starting to see those types of kids' mindsets entering into the anime community and going, oh, I don't actually like this. I want to force it to change, or I want to attack people for liking it and try and twist it and weapon it. Because the thing with high school is that, especially back in my days, if you turn around and hated the thing that they like, they just beat the snot out of you, or they just don't really care and they move on. Like, you'd have like all the high school bullies that would bully you for being a nerd or a gamer and all the rest. But it's like, imagine the popular kids trying to force themselves to like something because now they are no longer popular. They're no longer part of the trend. So it's the popular kids trying to pretend to like anime and then at the same time still try and mock you for it. But then still try and say, oh, I still like it. And I mean, I see it within the VTuber community, right? That's another great example, is you see all these like VTubers that are like, oh, I love anime and gaming. And you can even hear it, right? You can't see it in
I love anime and gaming, but have you ever seen that meme where it's like this, the comic book of this lady's like this, oh, I want to watch this 90s anime or a 90s movie. Oh my goodness, the homophobia, the transphobia, the racism. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like, I love it, but if we could only just sanitize it to nothing, if we just sanitize all the humanity out of it, let's go to what it ultimately is. They get offended by humanity. And so by the time it gets through the corporate sanitization process, there is no humanity left. And people do not resonate with that. The people don't resonate unless there's humanity there to resonate with. They just don't.
Their face, because
This is kind of why you can make a main character a literal rock, like Geode from the High Republic. You could have a character be a rock. Heck, you could have a main character be a brave little toaster. As long as you give them characterization and humanity, then it's going to be fine. You can give humanity to an object, like in Toy Story. You can give humanity to like an alien, whatever it might be. You can give humanity to a cell in your body, like with Osmosis Jones. But what you can't do is strip a human of their humanity and expect people to resonate with them. And they might seem human, they might go through the motions, but we know in our subconscious that they're not. That they've been stripped away of everything offensive or gritty. And I'll tell you this. This is going down to a philosophical level. Essentially, what they're doing is they're stripping away a big portion of humanity, and they're stripping away the shadow of these people, the intrusive thoughts, the prejudices, the hatreds, the dark thoughts you're not allowed to have in corporate media. You're not allowed to have anything but positivity and love for everybody, and it's so weird. It's like you're only allowed to have Stepford housewives in the mainstream, and no character is allowed to have any sort of real edginess. They can be safe edgy. They can curse. They can scream. They can be promiscuous as long as they're gay. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to actually being people, that's not allowed. They have to get watered down to nothing. Or shadow is being taken away, and in reality, the shadow might be something you want to get rid of. People might think that shadow is something you want to get rid of. It isn't. It's something you want to embrace because it is part of you. Without the shadow, you are an incomplete person, and without the humanity, what they would consider their shadow, the dark parts they find icky or inconvenient. Without that, they have just caricatures. They have people who aren't people. That weird, strange, little characters who don't have an offensive bone in their body. They have to just plaster on a fake smile, and they can be edgy, but they can never be really edgy. Like they can be crazy, sex obsessed freak shows, but they'll never be rude. You know, they don't. Right. Like with this, every watching the Southpaw drama, it's like it really is that. It's like, well, you know, I might have done this, and this, but at least I wasn't rude. At least I respect this person's pronouns. And that's what it seems like. Just like as long as you respect pronouns and stuff like that, you could do whatever you want. It's an excuse to do whatever you want, and it kind of feels that way with in general. Like if the more someone supports trans people, the worse they can be. It kind of feels like they're so supportive of trans people because they want to cover up for some other dark secret that's hidden in their past. But that's why it's so interesting to see how little people care about corporate slop these days. They can bring out Supergirl. They can bring out Doomsday, like the movie Doomsday with Dr. Doom, and people don't really care. They don't really care because it's going to be more sanitized, inhuman crap. It's going to be more of these guys coming on with big budget costumes, with big budget orchestras, and big budget looks, big budget CGI. And they're going to be completely inoffensive. They're going to be completely sanitized without an ounce of actual humanity. Even their moments of hilarity or comedic timing is going to be polished down to nothing. And there's not going to be anything offensive or strange about it. They're not going to tell any racist jokes like with Rush Hour 2 or whatever. They're just going to be saying things that demonize white people, that demonize men and capitalism, because that's kind of the safe way to go. And so they're never, ever going to have anything human. It's all going to be robots. They're all just robots. There's a bunch of ones and zeros. They happen to get live action people to play them. As Brady Ellen says, that we can't really have a Frank Sinatra anymore. And if we did, they're not going to be geniuses anymore. They're not going to be allowed to be geniuses anymore because they're not going to be allowed to be human. It takes humanity to be a genius. To express yourself as a genius, it takes humanity. So what they would do with a Frank Sinatra is just make sure that his humanity never shows, essentially tie his hands behind his back, and then thrust him out on stage to have him sing about how great your chosen identities are, how awesome it is that you are you and we're together and we're going to be united as one, and I hate Trump, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what it is. We're not allowed to have humanity anymore. That's just too offensive. And any level of humanity we see in any franchise will get instantly stomped out by the normies, which is why normies ruin everything they touch. Everything.
The VTuber model, but you can hear it in their voice. They're so monotone. They're so disattached from it. They're so devoid of that enjoyment. And then you can see some VTubers that genuinely love anime and gaming, and you can hear the passion in them. I mean, it's the same thing when you see certain content. And that's why I say some could have still had a passion and then lost that passion. It's not one size fits all. I think there's a multitude of like effects.
And so Zabal says, like how some fans hated Jax and TDC, and then fell all over themselves defending him because, Jax changed in no way. We just heard from the outside source, by the way, it wasn't even actually in the show, that Jax is now trans, maybe. And suddenly, time to defend Jax. Jax kind of fixed himself in no way. He's the same guy throughout the entire show. And only because the creators mentioned at one point he could be trans, even though the creator also mentioned that he's not. But he might be. He might be. Now it's time to defend him. Now it's time to like Jax. Instantly forgiven. Basically, you can do whatever you want as long as you're trans, I guess. Yeah, just even Family Guy made fun of it. Like, hey, you can't watch porn at the bar. Yeah, but I'm trans. Oh, then feel free to do whatever you want all the time. It was like Quagmire's dad or something. Yeah, that's what happened. They kind of just forgave Jax because he's trans now. When really the scene they kind of come up with is actually Jax. It's like really heterosexual, actually. The scene is really heterosexual. Jax is alone in a girl's room, a ribbit, and she essentially gets naked. And because she's only wearing a bow tie, and puts a bow tie on his ear, and now that she's naked, he blushes. It's more like heterosexual than because she thinks Jax is a girl, which is stupid. It's like any normal person would see that as, they're intimate. It's an intimate moment. Ribbit is naked now. But of course, the trans mafia has to be like, actually, it's because Ribbit knows that Jax is actually a girl. Okay. Yeah.
That have gone on. And I think because of that, we're starting to see things like Hetslop. People that are kind of hating on straight ships because it's the popular thing to do. Oh, what's that? You've got an anime with a harem? Oh, how dare it have that? I mean, harems have been around for a long time, right? Some gone through popular phases and grown over time. But I've definitely seen this new resurgent recently of this kind of like, we need to hate harem animes. And some animes get hate because it's the popular thing to hate, while some harem animes don't get as much hate because the community, or it's just not as popular to hate it. So they kind of go only for the popular harems that they want to hate. But I feel like there is definitely a growing trend. And that's why I think you're seeing the word like Hetslop resurge. And I think that's just one example of many of different words that are kind of becoming coined and used within the anime community by these content creators, whether it's shorts or TikToks or X content creators, posts, whatever, videos, streamers, etc., whatever variety of content, wherever, even Reddit and Discord. You see these groups of people that are trying to basically shame you for liking what your community likes. And that's why I always say gatekeeping is important, where you build your own communities of people that enjoy what you enjoy, right? If you don't like these Reddits and Reddit Discords, right, you make your own Discord. You bring your own friends in. And even if it's 5, 10, 15, 20, or 30 people that just actually have a genuine passion, there's nothing wrong with that. That is a strong form of gatekeeping because it might be small, but it is effective at keeping out bad actors. But that's when you get all the people in the comment section, and trust me, they'll be in the comment section going,
by the way, chat, we're just $35 away from Pillarman, and the extra video. So, getting very close now. It's $35 away.
Gatekeeping doesn't work. It's stupid. You didn't do it. And those are the very same people.
I like how he mocks them. Good. They need to be mocked more and more ruthlessly as well.
That do gatekeep. They are exactly the people. They just pretend they don't. Oh, I don't gatekeep. But then they'll turn around and shun people for not liking what they like, and they'll go to their subreddits or their Discord servers themselves, and they'll do exactly that. That's why I say don't feel ashamed for gatekeeping these people that have been trying to shame us.
Yeah. So the thing is, the reason why some nerds are against gatekeeping is like, oh, everyone should be allowed to participate in the hobby. Yeah, back in the day when there was no incentive to be in the hobby other than liking it, then it's like, okay, we don't really need a gatekeep, because it's like you're part of a town that no one wants to be in unless you really want to be in the town because of the thing that the town is known for. Like if you're going to this town to be a coal miner, I guess it's a coal mining town, then your job is to be a coal miner, then that's probably why you want to go there. But if you're not one of these coal miners, then you probably don't want to go to this town because it's filthy and dark and people don't shower. But now that it's like, oh, it's very famous, popular now. Oh, it's popular to go to this coal mining town, right? Everyone wants to go. Now you got to gatekeep. That's when you want to gatekeep, because then you might be inviting riffraff and people who just like Johnny come latelys. You're like, no, how about we I don't really get to have any coal because everyone gets up too early. Like in this case, there's be like the normie coal miners would go in and they'll start complaining that the veteran coal miners, the actual coal miners who have been there for decades or whatever, they know exactly what to do. So they get up early, they go into the mines, they know exactly what to find, where to go. And then the Johnny come latelys, right? During this coal mining rush will come in, the normies will come in and say, well, it's not fair. I don't get any coal. How about I want to complain about this. And so then they get institute laws and rules and say, okay, everyone draws lots and you get to go into this, you get to go mining at this group at this time, and no one could go into the mine before noon, that sort of thing. That way everyone can have a chance to wake up. They'll start charging tickets to go in there. Like, oh, you want to be part of this, the higher tier group? Well, you can just go ahead and pay a little bit more and you can go into the mine earlier. Because the more normies will complain, it's not fair. Because they don't want to work as hard. They want to do all the learning and the experience and all that stuff. They don't want to go through all that. They just want to get in there, pay some money, and get their rewards pretty easily. Normal man, this additional $5 super chat. They very much. A normal man says the people against gatekeeping are like the demons in free reign, using empathy to subvert and take over fandoms. Exactly, because gatekeeping would keep them out. So of course they don't really want that. Right, they don't want that at all, because how can they ruin it if they're kept out of it? It just won't work for them. Anyway, chat, very much normal man. Appreciate it once again. Yes. All right, here we go.
For enjoying anime. Don't be scared of gatekeeping these subreddits and these Discord Reddits that are all out there. All these slop tubers, see? Slop tubers that bring up the words like hetero slop, etc. Don't be...
Yeah, tell him. This guy's based. I like it. All right, chat. Well, let's move on to this. Let's see. What should we come up with next? What was it? What was the other one? Madhouse Iron Man. I think it'd be pretty cool to look over. Let me find it real quick, chat. Madhouse Iron Man. We'll see how that goes. Here it is. 4 years ago. I do remember this, though. Let me rewind a little bit. Here we go. Put on the screen for you. Here we go. Check it out, chat. Iron Man anime teaser for Madhouse. It's not community, it's fandom. No one really communes in the fandom. They befriend, they bicker, they debate, but they don't commune. There's no we in the hobby. It's I and fan. Yes, we kind of say back in 2017 or 16, 17, 18, we kind of clocked this too. That for some reason, some people came in and started using the word community. Right? Community. That was never used before to recognize like a fandom or anything. Right? That was never it. So it's like, why are they suddenly using the word community everywhere? It's not a community. It's a fandom. But it was an insidious use of the word community, because suddenly, oh, I'm a fan, so I guess I'm part of this community. I'm part of this community. It kind of subtly united you mentally with everyone else in the fandom. And suddenly, after that was put in place, it's like, oh, we as a blah 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 fan community can't stand XYZ anymore. We got to stand up. So they use it as a rallying cry. Suddenly you're attached to this group, right? They started basically, to put it simply, they started using the word community to start making it into a voting block, more or less, into a block instead of individual people who like the same thing. You are now a revved up army. You're all part of the same. You're all on the same side. That sort of thing. And so then when they say our community must X, or our community can no longer withstand X, or whatever it is, then it's like, okay, you're just drawn into the groupthink. You're drawn into groupthink, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. We should do this. Let's unite as fans. It was insidious. It was devious. But that's why they started using the word community, because then you're suddenly part of groupthink now. Suddenly you're part of all the same side, and they used that to start changing things. Because if you're part of the community, but you weren't on board, then suddenly you weren't really part of the community anymore, were you? And you didn't want to lose all that great stuff that you loved about the franchise or the game or whatever it was. And so they kind of roped you in. Like, I don't want to lose my friends. I don't want to lose this community. I don't want to lose all this. So I'll just go along with it. So not only did you have groupthink, if you managed to break through the groupthink, you also had peer pressure. And suddenly, little by little, your franchise is whittled away to nothing. All the humanity stripped away until it's a blank blob. All right, check this out, chat. Let's see. Connor Kitchell says, look at, because that was the communist agenda starting its invasion. Yeah, just they use words to deceive you, like demons from Freerun. Let's see here, chat. All right, let's move on a little bit. There we go. Well, a good chunk of this has no sound to it. But here we go. Actually, is pretty cool. That'd be pretty awesome. This is this Iron Man versus Kaiba and his like blue eyes white dragon Iron Man suit. That'd be pretty interesting. Kaiba versus Tony Stark. I'd like to see that. All right, Chad. Well, let's check this out. Anime, turns out, apparently has a dialogue problem. Let's check it out, Chad. Got another one here. Oh, wait a minute. No. We got another one on the docket other than that. So where is it? Where is it? Ah, okay. How a sequel can ruin a legacy. Let's check this out. All right, here we go. Let's put it up here. So can a sequel ruin a legacy of an entire franchise? I think people who who ran into Boruto would say maybe, at the very least. Let's check it out.
Incredible series. You feel really grateful for how awesome it was, but you just wish there was more. So you wait and wait and wait until finally they announce a sequel, a whole new story, and another chance to see your favorite world again. You're hoping that it'll recapture the magic, or maybe...
So far, Dragon Ball didn't do a bad job on this front, I don't think, right? It was Dragon Ball, which was awesome. Dragon Ball Z, pretty good. And then you could, I think from there, things, the quality may vary. So you got like what GT, which I liked. I like GT for the most part. Then we also had what Dragon Ball Super, which people tend to not like as much after a while. But I did like the movies that came out. The Broly movie, Resurrection F, and Battle of the Gods. The Battle of the Gods is kind of retarded, but like it was still pretty entertaining.
Even surpass the original. The first chapter or episode comes out, but something feels off. So you keep going, waiting for that moment where everything clicks and it feels like the show you fell in love with. But that moment never happens. Instead, you slowly start to realize that this is trash. And now, the masterpiece you knew feels different. And you're wondering if the story would have been better if they just left it alone. If you're a fan of anime, or manga, or anything else, you know exactly how much this sucks. But what's the difference between the sequels that actually make a franchise better and the ones that make it way, way worse? When it comes
this One Punch Man, the first season was peak, and then didn't have got worse and worse. Which is silly. I don't know why you would put so little effort in One Punch Man. That was a big franchise. That was a huge phenomenon, One Punch Man. And it's so weird. It's like, okay, we're going to put less effort and less money into this thing that everyone wants. Awesome. Good idea.
to sequels, there's pretty much no better place to start than with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it had a lot of them. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was originally about this shy kid called Yugi, who had this ancient necklace that allowed him to turn into some mysterious pharaoh whenever he played cards. You know, basic stuff. The series focused on cool monsters, strategy, discovering the story of an...
Oh, is this kind of like the first series was awesome, and then we got Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And we got what else? We got the other ones. I don't know. Let's see. David Musselman, thanks for find us chat. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, David Musselman. Thank you very, very much. Yes. And so you should check out the X-Men Japanese trailer for original series. Oh yeah, it was pretty hardcore, but I do know that one.
Ancient civilization, and even though it was just about cards, it got kind of intense. Plus, it had one of the most banging intro songs of all time. I stand by that statement. When the series was over, it was already considered an absolute classic. But because the anime was attached to a real-life card game, they decided to create sequels. A lot of sequels. Each one had a new main character, new setting, new game rules. We started with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX first. It was set a few years after the original. People liked it, but generally fans agree that it was kind of meh. But after that, we got another sequel, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. So this story was set
that's the other one, 5Ds.
decades later in this futuristic city with one of the most iconic protagonists of the entire series, Yusei Fudo, combined with the most bizarre elements you could think of. Card duels on motorcycles. It was way cooler than it sounds, okay? 5Ds is often called the absolute best Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, including the original. People loved it for its mature storyline, high stakes, some of the best arcs in the franchise, and the fact that the characters are not idiots. But then we got hit with Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, and that's when things started getting a bit...
All right, I've heard nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. I just know the main character looks ridiculous. That's all I know. So... what is Zexal good? Like, what is it about?
weird. People still really loved the sequel, but you could tell something about Yu-Gi-Oh! Was changing. And after that, we got a bunch of sequels. Arc V, V-Rains, Sevens, Go Rush, and each one of these had their own protagonists and new mechanics that changed the entire game. The core idea never really deviates too much, but everything else does. The tone, the style, who they're trying to make the show for. The truth is that those sequels were kind of all over the place. Most people will agree that 5Ds and Zexal are great, but when it comes to all the other ones, there's love, there's hate, but mostly fans think that they're okay. On one hand, constantly pumping out new series kept Yu-Gi-Oh! Relevant and directly helped sell more cards. Each new show brought new ways of playing and made sure it stayed one of the longest running anime of all time. Yu-Gi-Oh!'s legacy is still really strong when you think of the entire franchise, but creatively, it definitely feels like the series reached its peak quite a long time ago. Nowadays, when people think about Yu-Gi-Oh, they mostly think about an anime that used to be good. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, some other legendary series can be way more lucky with their sequels. When I was a kid, you were either a Pokemon kid or a Yu-Gi-Oh kid, or, both of you were rich. This thing is one of the most iconic pieces of culture ever. You could be a child, an adult,
Like, what if you began as Pokemon and then you transitioned to Yu-Gi-Oh?
dog. It was a banger. For over 25 freaking years, we followed this kid called Ash Ketchum, even though for some weird reason it was called Sasha in French. Anyway, this dude and his electric rat Pikachu just traveled from region to region, doing literally the same stuff over and over. Beating people up to get these badges, escaping a team of criminals who try to steal their stuff, and making friends with literally every human they came across. The show was comforting, beautiful in its simplicity, and it also made an absolute obscene amount of money selling cards and video games to people. Let's go. For generations of fans, Ash was the face of Pokemon. This was a character who somehow managed to stay 10 years old for
It's a Alex Haley-Tusis is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal's way buried in sub dub bad. Really? So like the opposite of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX?
half decades while the audience grew up. And after 25 years of this madness, he finally became world champion. The journey was over, but we still have to sell cards and video games, huh?
Well, you're absolutely right.
So they decided to create a sequel, Pokemon Horizons. The first big difference between the original Pokemon and Horizons was that it ditched Ash for a new main character called Liko. On top of that, they completely changed the format from the usual travel around collecting gym badges to this big adventure focused on solving an ancient mystery. The show put way more emphasis on character development and storytelling instead of the regular gym battles and tournaments we were used to. For a lot of fans, this felt like a fresh start for the whole series. But to some other people, getting rid of Ash, literally one of the most recognizable characters in anime history, was a pretty big risk. And at first, Horizons really struggled. Even though the whole premise sounded pretty cool, the show was missing epic battles and a clear progression system like the gym badges. You know, the things that made Pokemon, Pokemon. But then something happened. The show slowly got better. In its second year, the series finally brought back those strategic Pokemon battles we love.
I have heard about Horizons, but I have no idea what it's about.
Anime started trending and actually managed
I thought it was a game. I didn't know it was a series.
to recapture that magic that made the Ash era so good. If you're like me and you stopped watching Pokemon like 100 years ago, you probably had no freaking clue that there was even a sequel to begin with. But
Yeah, I wouldn't. If it was not for Stu, I would not know.
trust me when I say that Pokemon Horizons is basically marking a whole new era for this thing. It shows that you can make a sequel that respects what came before while still being bold enough to try new things, making sure Pokemon's legacy doesn't just stick around but actually grows even bigger. Sometimes the sequel is so much better than the original that it becomes one of the best manga of all time. Listen, the idea that there was going to be a video on this channel that doesn't mention JoJo is crazy. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is basically the story that follows the Joestar family as they deal with the most ridiculous supernatural buffoonery you can imagine. We're talking about over 1,000 chapters of threats that span across different—
By the way, Chad, we're just $25 away from getting Preliminary Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and an extra video. Just $25 away. Getting pretty close. See, Orange Man says, strange fact, 4Kids never did finish three of those Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. GX, 5Ds, and Zexal. All of them never got their final season in dub. I know GX didn't. I guess they didn't finish any of them. Why didn't they finish any of them? Especially 5Ds. It's 5Ds, right? That's kind of like everyone liked that one. I should probably check it out. But yeah, everyone seemed to like that one, right? The 5Ds.
eras and continents. But here's where the author absolutely lost his mind. At the end of part 6, he doesn't just decide to create a new part as usual. No. This madman literally resets the entire story after hundreds of chapters. And that is how we got JoJo's part 7, Steel Ball Run. We're now in an alternate universe set in 1890s America, and the whole story revolves around this cross-country horse race. Our new JoJo is Johnny Joestar, who starts the story as a paraplegic former jockey. Then you've got his charismatic mentor slash partner, Gyro Zeppeli. The whole vibe is very different. It's less about random fighting and more mature overall. We're talking Western adventure, political intrigue, philosophy. This sequel does this thing where it constantly honors previous JoJo stuff while still doing its own thing. And the main villain is the freaking president of the United States. What more could you possibly want? When this sequel dropped, people immediately knew something was different. It felt like the moment the author, Hirohiko Araki, had finally reached his absolute peak as a creator. Steel Ball Run isn't just praised by JoJo fans, but the entire manga community. And trust me, these animals agree about nothing. We're talking about readers losing their minds over the writing, the character development, the synergy between the protagonist and Araki's artwork. Have you seen it? The success of Steel Ball Run was so overwhelming that it basically guaranteed JoJo could keep going without becoming repetitive or boring. It set up this new continuity that gave us JoJo Lion and now the JoJo Lands, proving that this series has infinite potential as long as Araki keeps doing his thing. More importantly, it forced all the critics and skeptics who used to dismiss JoJo as just some cult classic or meme factory to just shut up. Steel Ball Run is this rare example of a sequel that doesn't just honor its legacy, it takes the series to new creative heights, even after decades of existence. And to this day, it is ranked as the second best manga of all time, behind Berserk. Unfortunately, there are also times where the manga sequel is good, but the anime sequel, not so much. Tokyo Ghoul is basically what happens when someone decides to make a dark, messed up fantasy story, but also bring the edginess up to the absolute max. The whole thing follows this dude called Ken Kaneki, who starts off as your typical student, but then he has this encounter with a ghoul, which is basically a monster who looks like a regular person, and bam, he becomes a half ghoul, half human.
Weird says Pokemon Generations is basically the game in animated form, and people like that, so they can make a good anime without Ash. Yeah, they probably can, yeah. But you need to, bring the same kind of energy with new characters. It can't just be like, okay, just ride on nostalgia the entire time. That'll get people in the door, but you gotta bring it with the actual substance.
The original series was famous for its psychological depth and these tragic characters that would just make you question your entire life while you were reading. I mean, at some point, this was legit one of the biggest shows out there. Every weeb alive was talking about it. And then just a couple of months after the manga was done, the author decided to give us a sequel called Tokyo Ghoul Re. It picks up 2 years after the original and introduces Kaneki under his new identity, Heisei Sasaki, who lost his memory and is now working for the CCG, who are basically this group of detectives who hunt ghouls. The sequel brings new characters, new factions, and gives us a deeper look at all the political and scientific stuff going on behind the scenes. The story builds up to this final war that's going to decide what happens to both humans and ghouls. The manga version of the sequel is generally considered a solid continuation. People usually agree that there was a lot of psychological complexity and super messed up but interesting moments. Sure, there were issues, but it was great. Until the anime decided to do something pretty weird. The adaptation of the manga was already pretty bad in the first season, but instead of just continuing to adapt the manga, the anime decided to create its own sequel called Tokyo Ghoul Root A, or Square Root of A as I like to call it. And the name was honestly the least bad thing about it. In Square Root of A, the main character joins the villains for literally no reason. There's no character development, no logic, and just why? People generally hated the sequel, but the worst part is that it kind of messed up the future of the anime. This series had built up this reputation for not caring about adapting the manga. So when Tokyo Ghoul Re came out, no one else cared. The most hilarious part is that the only thing that consistently got praised about this entire mess is the opening theme. That's it. The actual content was so bad that it managed to disappoint both manga fans who knew how good it could have been and anime-only viewers who just wanted to watch something good. Sometimes the original...
Oh, that's not a good sign. I heard Tokyo Ghoul was good, though. Like Tokyo Ghoul, I guess the original one was good.
series isn't even that good, so it kind of feels like a sequel could...
4 Nights of the Apocalypse. I never heard of this one.
And be worse, until it is. The Seven Deadly Sins is a fantasy adventure series that follows...
Oh, Seven Deadly... I know, I've seen that one. I've seen the first season of this.
These legendary knights called the Seven Deadly Sins. The simplest way I can explain it is that they're this group of overpowered, quirky warriors that go on a journey. It was never the greatest thing ever made. It had epic battles, magical powers, and a big cast of characters. Classic stuff. But as the series went on, everything
That's basically it. It's really awesome battles and stuff like that. It wasn't like it's not like this profound masterpiece, but it was pretty fun. At least the first season was.
progressively got worse and worse, especially the anime, where the animation quality became like embarrassingly bad. But here's the thing, the same author was gonna start working on a new sequel, so maybe with all the time they'd spent writing and learning from their mistakes, they would have improved. Maybe there was still a chance to turn it into something really cool. Four Knights of the Apocalypse takes place years after the Seven Deadly Sins. The author decided to introduce a new group of heroes, and the whole story focuses on this kid called Percival. He finds out that he's one of the 4 people who are destined to destroy the world. So he goes on a journey, and along the way, he meets a bunch of people who have their own mysterious connection to this prophecy. When this thing dropped, people were kind of confused. On one hand, it actually had some generally good ideas, some interesting character concepts, solid world building, interesting magic abilities that were pretty cool to look at, and even moments of decent writing. But here's the problem. All those positives got completely overshadowed by some huge issues. According to a lot of fans, the dialogue was absolutely terrible, especially for the female characters. There was still a lot of weird stuff that was already a problem in the original series.
Hell, that won't happen.
To a lot of fans, the dialogue was absolutely terrible.
So hold on, let me see here. Is that his real magic force? It makes Taliskers look like kid stuff. I cannot believe it. He's back. His back is turned, but he left us no opening. It's like generic manga stuff.
Especially for the female.
Okay, man or woman, we all want to save those we hold dear. That's just generic anime manga dialogue. How is this an example of it being bad?
Characters. There was still a lot of weird stuff that was already a problem in the original series, and instead of fixing,
and so he is lying to you all, citizens. Do not let this man trick you. He's like, I mean, I've seen this in a lot of anime. There's this blatant, just in your face dialogue.
they just kind of doubled down on it.
Okay, so what is this then? Percival. Wow, that guy had me by the throat. Oh, thank heavens. I thought I was going to die without you. But where did that bald dude off the next... How's this... This is just... Okay, all right.
It was a mess. Seven Deadly Sins was already this pretty mediocre manga that got absolutely destroyed by a terrible anime. And unfortunately, the sequel just continued being disappointing in a lot of the same ways. There are also times when a sequel can be so bad that people don't even want to
Here we go. Here's Boruto.
accept it's a sequel. Naruto is one of the most beloved and influential anime series ever. Over hundreds of
I feel like people just kind of want to forget this thing exists.
episodes and manga chapters, we watch Naruto's journey from this lonely dude that everyone treats like absolute garbage to a hero that everyone respects. Just so you know, this series wasn't just popular, it became one of the big 3 alongside Bleach and One Piece. Those are series that literally shaped an entire generation of anime and manga fans. When it ended, everyone knew that there was going to be a sequel, and everyone knew it was going to be a big deal. When it came out, the focus shifted to Naruto's son, Boruto Uzumaki. The world had changed. The ninja village was now this modern city, totally at peace and packed with advanced technology. I mean, there were even aliens. Where Naruto was all about an underdog fighting for respect and overcoming crazy obstacles, Boruto was about living in the shadow of a legend. His problem isn't trying to get noticed, it's trying to escape his dad's legacy. When it first came out, people were not very happy, and as the series kept going on, the criticism just kept piling up. The show was basically sidelining all the original characters that people cared about. The villains were kinda lame, and the story felt uninteresting. But the worst part is that both the manga and the anime had their own unique problems. The manga had a new artist, which meant that it looked completely different.
Ghost says, Leldy, if you want to know about Seven Deadly Sins, TDLDR, just think Fantasy Warrior Group Journey anime. What do you think of this? Probably, wait, I've seen the first season. It was pretty fun.
From the original Naruto, and that made a lot of fans pretty mad. The anime, on the other hand, had terrible pacing and was stuffed with filler and anime-only episodes, and they were not good. For a long time, a lot of long-time Naruto fans felt like Boruto completely failed to live up to what came before it. That was until part 2 of Boruto came out, 2 Blue Vortex. This continuation finally made the series feel like it was actually about Boruto. The series fully embraced him as this overpowered character, and he transformed from an obnoxious kid to someone cool. The enemies got better. There was a genuine sense of mystery, and the author's art style, which got absolutely roasted early on, had improved so much while still keeping his own vibe. All the feelings around this series have flipped so much that you rarely hear anyone complaining about
It has? I haven't heard anything about how people think Boruto is good now. I didn't hear anything about that at all. Megathon, that's the $5 super chat says the art for Devanir Deadly Sin I really liked. Also, Zexal dub is bad. Yes, but I find it fun. Okay, I haven't heard anything about Zexal. I think no one really talks about. People talk about GX and 5Ds, but Zexal never really comes up. Not really. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Megathon. Appreciate it.
the manga anymore. And people are actually starting to acknowledge that Boruto is finally living up to the hype. This incredible comeback, combined with the fact that they finally put the anime on pause because they realized literally no one wanted to watch this garbage, was the perfect storm that brought Boruto to where it is today. The rightful successor to one of the most legendary stories ever created. Luckily, there are also times when a sequel is different, but people still like it. Jujutsu Kaisen is the story of Yuji Itadori, this absolute unit of a high schooler who's just trying to live his life. And then bam, he's thrown into the brutal world of Jujutsu, where he has to fight monsters, sorcerers, and the evil spirit inside of his own body. And listen, for a while there, JJK was genuinely untouchable. The fight scenes were insane, the story was great, and Gege had the guts to actually kill off characters that mattered, which made the story feel way darker than the usual battle series out there. You know, for some reason, I often hear people say that JJK was never good, and just, what are you saying, my dude? Listen, I'm not saying this is the most important thing, but this thing was selling like crazy. It won Best Anime of the Year for both of its first seasons and also became the most sold manga for several years. But then, unfortunately, the author apparently had really bad issues with the production of the manga, which was affecting his work, and everything kind of went sideways. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of problems in the series itself, but in general, it just kind of felt like he wanted to get over it, which is very understandable. But approximately a year later, he announced a sequel called Modulo. From the beginning, he decided that this manga was going to last 6 months, and that's it. It was written by the original author, but drawn by the artist of Cypher Academy. Instead of happening a couple of years later, like, most sequels, we are 68 years in the future. And now it's all about these aliens who basically showed up to Earth, and humans, yeah, they didn't really want that. The main characters are the grandkids of very important characters from the original JJK. Plus, this alien dude named Maru, loved the guy. At first, people were not super happy about this. It's not that there was anything terrible about it, but fans felt like it wasn't as good as they wanted. Everyone knew about what Boruto and other sequels did to the original series, so when they saw aliens at JJK, the fan base felt kinda weird. But then, something
Starnet Official, thanks for the $5 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Yes. I think people just got tired of complaining about Boruto. And those who liked it stayed, and those who didn't left, since it hadn't gotten better. That might be it. Yeah, people just kind of left already. Like, it didn't get better. It just people just didn't care anymore and left and stopped complaining about it. That might be the case. It seems to be more likely the case. I never heard anyone start liking Boruto, like not in a big way. Like, I'm pretty sure the way he described it, if that actually happened, it would have been news all over the place. Like, oh my goodness, Boruto's great now. I just felt like organically, that's what it felt like, the way you described it, which is everyone just kind of stopped caring. That's what it felt like from an outsider looking into the Naruto fandom.
pretty cool happened. As the chapters went by, the series slowly started becoming better, and people were actually getting hyped for new chapters. Some people were still mad about what happened to the original series, and that anger is definitely transferring into how they're judging Modulo. But the recent chapters, I can't lie, they've been delivering. Better character development, some genuinely cool powers, and the classic JJK missions that made us fall in love with the series in the first place. Sure, the art is different from the original chaotic, sketchy style, but the new author is nailing nailing the horror vibes and also the Jujutsu Kaisen style, while still doing his own thing. And unlike Boruto, it seems like people have mostly enjoyed this new look from the beginning. If a sequel is supposed to create something new, something different, that's still part of the same world, and it's great so far. It's going to be pretty short, so it won't necessarily have the impact Boruto had, for example, but it's going in a very good direction, I would say. We are so way too early to call this a success, but between Modulo doing its thing and season 3 of the anime, hopefully the legacy of the series will improve beyond, the controversial ending of the manga and the crazy production of season 2. Finally, sometimes a sequel is way more than just a sequel. Dragon Ball is probably the most famous anime and manga series of all time. Even if you've somehow never seen a single episode.
Yeah, we got Dragon Ball and we got Dragon Ball Z, which I think matched up or overshadowed, but it has its own flavor, of course.
So you've almost 100% seen this guy before. The original story followed Goku's journey when he was a super strong little kid. Then Dragon Ball Z came along and took the whole thing to this little cosmic level. Goku became an adult and had to defend Earth and the entire freaking universe from increasingly uglier aliens. The series became popular for its battles that kept getting more insane. All these transformations that looked extremely cool, and most importantly, the characters. By the end of Dragon Ball Z, the story wrapped up, and for a lot of fans, this was the absolute perfect ending. But then, they decided to create Dragon Ball GT. The sequel was based on Akira Toriyama's manga, but it wasn't actually part
The sequel was based.
of the official story, kind of like filler. The whole idea was to bring Dragon Ball back to its roots. More adventure stuff instead of just fighting and powering up like in Z. They turned Goku into a kid again, thinking it would appeal to younger viewers. And trust me when I say that Dragon Ball GT got absolutely bodied by fans. People hated the inconsistent tone, how beloved characters like Vegeta and Gohan became side characters, and the new villain.
I mean, that tends to happen though in Dragon Ball Z. Just the characters that were awesome last time are just sidelined now.
Ones were honestly nowhere near as cool or threatening as the ones from Z. And ultimately, turning Goku back into a kid was a decent idea, but here it felt like a mistake. For most fans, GT is remembered.
Well, probably like this idea because it did it again for Dragon Ball, the new one. What was it called? Like the demon world?
As a total mess. A sequel that completely failed to capture what made the earlier shows so good. But that's not where the story ends, because then Dragon Ball Super showed up, and that was a real sequel. This story was the official continuation of Dragon Ball Z, with Akira Toriyama back in charge. It picks up right after the original story, brings back all the important characters, but quickly makes the universe way bigger with new overpowered enemies, multiverse tournaments, and crazy new transformations like Super Saiyan Blue and even Ultra Instinct. While it did in fact start as one of the most controversial Dragon Ball series of all time, especially the anime that had some moments of truly awful animation, it slowly got better and delivered some genuinely amazing arcs. Fans still agree that the good parts don't really make up for all the terrible stuff throughout, but what they do agree on is that Dragon Ball Super got people incredibly hyped and managed to recapture some of that Z magic. Once the series found its thing, it became this massive hit. Super kind of brought the franchise back to life, pulling in a whole new generation of fans and getting longtime viewers excited again, combined with some absolutely banging movies like Broly and Superhero.
It's a normal man. Actually, the 5 Super Chat says, actually, Dragon Ball Z isn't a sequel series. It's just a weird marketing thing. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are the same series in manga. Well, technically, yeah, because what was it? The Dragon Ball came in, and they made a time skip eventually. And when time skip was over, I think that was supposed to be Dragon Ball Z. I think that was supposed to be it. But I heard they named it Z because it's supposed to be the ending. It definitely was not. Hey, wish door, Ben. Thank you very, very much. It's a Shade Urag says a big problem with GT is that it's sidelined characters specifically for Pan, who had all the annoying traits of Chi-Chi and Bulma combined. Had Pan been a good character, they would have been different. Yeah, it was a good idea to have Trunks along, but yeah, everyone hated Pan. Everyone hated Pan. Although I like the things they got up to in Dragon Ball GT. Or was it I like the whole the Metal Empire, the Machine Empire. That was kind of interesting. I like the whole thing with Baby. And I thought the dragons being born of their wishes was interesting because it gave you consequences to big wishes. Like, okay, be careful with these wishes because they'll come back and bite you. Watch out. I did like some of those, but I think we could have done it with a little less of Pan. And I'm not really sure if we needed Goku to be a kid again. I think that was that was kind of forced in, I think.
The series became bigger than it was in a long while. People pretty much thought this was gonna be it for a while, until we received news that Toriyama had created Daima, a new Dragon Ball anime in
That's it, Daima. It's like they were in the demon world or something.
which he would be very strongly involved. People were extremely hyped and ready to enjoy this show, until a few months after the announcement, fans around the world were hit with tragic news. Approximately a year after the announcement, we got the first episode of Daima. It was set in between Dragon Ball Z and Super. The main characters got turned into kids, kinda like GT, which sends them on this new adventure across worlds they've never seen before. Since it came out, people have had really complicated feelings about this sequel. Fans praise it for actually making the child transformation make sense. The awesome world building, dialogue that felt authentic, really good animation, and some great fights. But they also criticized it for having no real tension, disappointing villains, terrible pacing issues, plot threads that just got dropped, and this overall feeling that this was kind of a rough draft. But despite all these problems, people
It was kind of they kind of had to lower the power level of Goku, because otherwise I guess the story would have ended too quickly. So they had like the smog stuff that lowered his power level or caused him not to fly or something like that.
still appreciated it as Akira Toriyama's final creative work. Even though the sequels never quite managed to reach the legendary status of the original series, they still managed to bring back some of the magic. Daima made many fans emotional, not just because of what they got, but because of everything that could have been, making it both a magical and tragic goodbye from one of the most legendary creators in history.
All right, there we go, chat. There we go. So that was kind of interesting, but yeah, when a sequel kind of does better or overshadows or ruins the legacy of the original, very interesting stuff. All right, chat. Well, we have reached the end of the stream, chat, and no Pillarman. We got close to Pillarman. We didn't quite get there. We got close though. So transition over to stream memes, not with Pillarman, but with something else. Let's see here. So, no Pillarman, no Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and no extra video. All right. So, the people have spoken. We'll transition over to the stream memes with this.
It began with the suicide of Charles Blackwell, just days after his 55th birthday. Then the Rhineswan family massacre. 3 generations painfully passing from this world, crying the same crimson tears Blackwell had.
Sit alone on the edge of
5 members of the prominent Rhineswan family were found dead.
After that, the media finally gave their murderer a name. The Red Crier Killer.
Memento mori. Remember you will die.
Investigators believe the killer may be the same individual the media has dubbed the Red Crier.
Memento mori. Remember you will die. I know it's droll to sell my soul. I wanted to protect them though, but I couldn't even play my role. Now vengeance is my only goal. Memento mori. Too late for sorry. Now goodbye. Breath goes dry. I will cry when I remember you will die.
All right, here we go, chat. Stream memes, streaming memes. Let's get down to business. Here we go, chat. What is this? Company says it was actually going to be called Dragon Ball 2, but the font made it look like Z. Toriyama thought it looked cool, so I mean that's pretty Toriyama. He's just like Toriyama really is that kind of guy. He's like, that's cool. Like, keep in mind, Toriyama's the guy who just forgot about Super Saiyan 3. Or something like that. He just like forgot about one of the stages. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Let's see, chat. Vlad the Shrike, thank you much for the $20 super chat. Very generous indeed. Holy shit says, let's see. I'm not going to be able to catch the streams for a while, so take care. Thank you much, Vlad the Shrike. Hope you take care as well. Hope you can come back soon. And Dylan Fed says, wait, we made the 3 videos and stream? Everybody, I'm going to gamble and call my ex. I feel lucky. That is preliminary, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. There we go, chat. Bump it up to 104. Thank you very much, everyone. All right. We'll go to stream memes, and then we'll do the extra video as well. And see here, chat. Get away from her, you bitch. Someone has to save our skins. Oh, this is Star Wars. This is Star Wars right there. There is no fate, but what we make it of ourselves. I am no man. Fuck Sony. Yeah, it was Elden Ring. Hell yeah. I receive. What is that? The sun. You receive feet. Cuteness will not save you. Not this day. Not this day. Now is a time for ethical cannibalism. The Foxu. Let's see. What's this? Happy International Men's Day. What is this? Trump? Is this Trump in like a Speedo? So this image is basically canon now. The voice actor for Pearl from Steven Universe is MAGA, really? And follows that bitch that got shot in the neck. You mean Charlie Kirk? So wait a minute. So that's interesting. Uh-oh. Are they going to fire her now? Are they going to fire her now because she's MAGA? It's a Claire Redfield. Wow. Yeah, this is how it go. Made by Western developers. Yeah, it kind of looks like Lupin the Third or something in that one. But I want a Blade anime. I think a Blade anime would be awesome. Like Blade specifically. If you can't have a Marvel Knights, then get Blade as an anime, like a series. That'd be pretty good. And see your chat. What's this? And the X Jet, I'm going to need 2 seats. I'm going to need 2 seats for the twins. Extra thick. What is this? X-Men from one of the anime, I guess. It's just the one they go to Japan, I suppose. It's that one. Let's see. There we go. The different anime. What's this? Here you go. The show. This is how they lost. Yeah, I've seen this one. I remember this one. He had like a weird like special suit or something like that. He can turn into he had like a mecha suit or something. And then Witchblade anime. I heard Witchblade was good. I didn't know it was like a Western thing. I didn't know that it was like, I don't know, some Italian lady. Let's see. Well, if this could work, how come Lady Midnight can't work? That doesn't make any sense. It has like all the stuff that everyone likes in it. Humans. Oh, is it supposed to be like the history? This is supposed to be the History Channel meme. Like aliens. He's like humans. They should have given him the funky hairdo as well. JoJo, the President of the United States. I think this is the President of the United States. That'd be kind of weird, right? Dirty deeds done the cheap. Dirty deeds. Himmel's emotional proposal to Freeman has now been brought to life in the real world. Oh, I guess they made a little statue of it. Japan does do that sometimes. They have even like little like Detective Conan statues and stuff everywhere. It's a One Piece creator Ichiro Oda gathered manga's biggest legends for a private dinner. That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. I know Naruto and Luffy. There's a guy from that sports anime that looks like it's like the Stars Kuwabara, Dr. Stone, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and I feel like I should know this guy on the right here, but I don't. Anyway, College Batista, thanks for the $5 super chat. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Says GT actually had a lot of cut content. Pen was supposed to get Super Saiyan. Gohan was supposed to be more important, and Goku Jr. was supposed to get a saga. Goku Jr. You mean like little Goku, or like he had a new son called Goku Jr.? Let's see. All right, chat. Well, here we go. Let's get down to business with the extra video. Let's check it out, chat. I guess we'll watch a little bit of it. Let's see how it goes. See if you like it or not. But it's called "How Disney Became a Disney Game." The horrendous, unfortunate downfall. One of the greatest MMOs, probably the greatest MMO to have ever existed.
Always try to think positive. I usually make lore videos with a bit of humor, talking about the untold stories of Warcraft universe. But this video is different. I don't want to be negative, not at all. But after making videos for you guys for 3 months, I want to share the real feeling that we all have about the World of Warcraft. It was stuck in my heart, and I think it is your true feeling too. I'm Hagix, and let me take you back to many years ago.
How many of you have played World of Warcraft?
It feels like it was just yesterday when I came home from school. The first thing I did was turn on my PC. I connected with dial-up internet to a word that I didn't understand at all. But the music.
Dial-up? I don't remember that. Did it come out? I guess dial-up was still used when it came out. I don't remember that.
Wow, the music, its atmosphere, its days and nights, but always in my mind. When it snowed or rained, or when it was summer, when I was sad, angry, or when I grew up and got my heart broken, World of Warcraft was always there. It was like a friend. It was like a home that not everyone could understand.
I'm gonna go home and put the heck out of this thing.
Excited. Very excited.
Yeah! Woo!
And it's pretty awesome. Back when it was run by testosterone, and it was like manly and was really actually World of Warcraft, it was at its peak.
But recently, when I was walking around Ironforge to record a video for this channel, I realized something. Nobody is online. Yes, I know what you are going to say. You will say the main hub in the Midnight expansion is crowded. But have you traveled around the lands of Warcraft? There is no one. Really, no one. It is just you, the
In 2004 LD, they had a majority of DSL. I guess that makes sense. I don't think I had that. I think I had cable by that point.
music and a bunch of NPCs. But WoW was not always like this. Ironforge was once full of players walking around or chatting with each other. Stonewind was even better and more crowded. It was the same for the Horde. Right now, Undercity is so empty that I think even the
maybe I was wrong, because maybe it was like that. Because I remember, like, a friend of mine, he was he would fly to Ironforge, and how that journey went is you go on the Griffin, right, and you fly to Ironforge, and you get to soar across the sky and see all the world beneath you. It was awesome, but he couldn't do that because what happened was he would get on the Griffin and everything would just freeze for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then suddenly he would pop up an Ironforge.
and that are scared to be in it. I remember a time when there were so many people in front of the gates of Stonewind or Orgrimmar. They were dueling and chatting. Yes, I know what you're gonna say. But that even if you turn on war mode, it doesn't make a difference, my friend. I don't know how many friends you had or how many guilds you joined. If we look at our friends list, you don't just see the passage of time. It feels
I'll fly him for like 10 years.
like looking at a ghost town. In the real world, when someone leaves, we know it. We mourn and we accept it. But in Warcraft, we never said goodbye. The guild's healer said, "See you tomorrow night." And that tomorrow never came. Accounts that went offline 12 years ago are now like a time capsules. The characters are frozen forever in some part of Azeroth. We're in the exact same armor they had on the last night of the raid. We didn't leave those people behind. We left a piece of our own use in those servers. But what happened to our world? Why did the cities turn into ghost towns? The reason for this emptiness is not just a drop in players. Technology and the fast pace of life have hidden us from each other, both in game and in the real world. We are in the same city, but we can't see each other. In the past, cities were crossing paths. To go to a dungeon, you had to walk out of the city gates, and you would meet others along the way.
God, look at everybody.
This chapter can be told.
Look at them all. Holy
Wait, this
fuck.
login queue is full and can't accept more players. No shot.
Whoa. Wait, I can't even move my character. Oh, now I can.
That gave you the feeling of a group game, an MMORPG game. It gave you the feeling of being social and living as a dwarf or a night elf.
My main is a Tauren shaman. His name's Thangor. That's what I'm talking about. He's a elemental, so he's really into doing a lot of damage for as much as he can. I have an orc hunter.
It's a Garfield Bizarre Adventures. These are the 5 superchats. What are your thoughts on the friend? If any of you is trying to blame tariffs, like with Root Toys, are over a year late. I mean, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, he's leaving CG. I mean, people will do what they want to do, but yeah, that was with Stu also complaining about that as well. They became way more expensive. And it was like not even a predictable thing. It was like just up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, it's like the stock market. And sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. So yeah, definitely. So you're making them in China because you have to make stuff like that in China. It's just that there's nothing here in America that really will help do that, especially if your order's already over there. So yeah, that definitely would be the case if the suddenly you're planning to spend so much money on buying toys in China, and so the tariffs skyrocket because we're having that war, especially with China. So yeah, things were skyrocketing to like 200-300%. Yeah, it's just you don't have enough money suddenly because shipping is a lot of money, and then suddenly you're just paying triple. Yeah. That's definitely reasonable. That definitely did happen, and it's happened to other people I know as well, who have to have their own businesses and buy and ship and everything. So it's because EVS does not mean it's wrong. You know, it's because it's EVS does not mean suddenly it's not a viable reason why things can't happen. The tariffs really did cause a lot of chaos.
I have a troll rogue, and I have an undead mage. So I like doing a lot of damage.
But
I think Stu gets some of his stuff from Japan, so he kind of has to ship it over from Japan to America.
it's not just like that anymore. Why? Is it the Blizzard's fault? Is it our fault? Is it because we humans are just getting older? Why doesn't it feel like MMO anymore? It feels much more like a single player game now. You feel it too, right? I know you might say, if you miss these things, go play Classic. But no, my friends, no. Classic is a cycle. Blizzard wants me to just consume it, to get stuck in the consumer loop. And I don't want to do that. Why?
And fortunately, the main guy who was running WoW, who made it the great thing that it was, has lost his balls. And like, oh, did we really have to call it Warcraft? Oh my goodness, it's so offensive and aggressive. Like he's drank too many soy lattes and his balls are shriveled into raisins.
Why did this happens to our main WoW game? The game that has been here since 2004. I don't want to abandon the character that I grew up with. I want the main game, the WoW, the real WoW, the one that has been moving forward for 21 years to be.
And again, they had with the other video we watched where they had that other system set up where they had 1 million people playing, and people would stream on WoW, then go hop on there just to have fun. They could have just. I mean, I get shutting it down, I guess, where it's like, okay, we got to protect our IP or whatever, but they couldn't just look at that and say, okay, this is the direction we want to go. This is kind of where we need to revamp WoW in this direction. We have to go over here, right? They couldn't do that. They had to keep it on the corporate message, and now it's all Disneyfication. Everyone's cool. Everyone's just hanging out, because to have it be centered around conflict and war would be way too much. Way too much.
Be fixed.
Someone doesn't play WoW. What do you say to convince them?
I really didn't have to say much. I got him into WoW. I got like 7 of my friends into WoW. My ex-girlfriend I got.
And these things I'm just saying are not just me complaining. They are words straight from my heart. And my heart is broken. In its early days, Warcraft was not just built on comfort. It was built on terrible enemies and hardship.
As this giant raids, it's just you hear like this, the Alliance is attacking and all the Horde must gather up, right? And then what was it? Then I remember like there was an attack on Goldshire, and you had to like defend Goldshire, right? Pretty cool stuff. It was awesome. I just remember like all these like rumors, like, oh, the Horde is heading over here. And then of course in the other video kind of talked about how there's some guys grieving people, and they're, I think this was called, they're griefing. It's called griefing. Or you just like stand around and just kill newbies all day. And they would call for help from like higher level guys, right? And it was kind of like a big fight and stuff. It was awesome. It was really cool. That was a really interesting part. I think everyone wanted to grief every once in a while. It's kind of fun. So because you're a grief when you're like a low level guy, and now that you're higher level, you want to go back and like grief the new generation of characters. It just made sense. Let's see. Garfield, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, what are your thoughts on EVS not paying his artist David Williams? Pretty sure he did. On the Fearsome Project. Like, who said that? Williams left the project over being mistreated. Yeah, I highly doubt that. I'm gonna press X out on that. Another thought, thanks for the $5. Did you see the sword on the Skybox LD? Blizz hopped. Hope we forget about it. No, the sword in the Skybox. I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't heard of that one. Let's see.
Yep.
Yes! Thank you.
When a low-level player was killed by the opposing faction, made them
there we go. See, that's griefing.
ask for help from others in the chat. Nothing brings people together and creates friendship like a shared enemy. These hardships were not bugs. They were exactly the glue that built the community.
Now we can't have that because it's too much. The normies came in and ruined it. It's like, oh, well, you're just messing with my playtime. I'm not happy. Well, then it should just let it as is. Let's let people be people. That's what made Warcraft fun in the first place. The World of Warcraft, that's what made it fun. People were allowed to be people, allowed to troll each other, allowed to have fun. And they had to stamp it all out.
Compared to that now, Blizzard has taken away the core content of Warcraft, which is leveling up. Leveling and exploring Azeroth have no meaning anymore, have a character, and being unique has no meaning.
What is this? They're all lining up for a raid or something?
Anymore. Everyone can have everything. It's like a fast food. The game just wants you to reach the end game quickly and inject you with a
normies want that, and normies flood it. And when normies flood something, they become the dominant voice, right? And so instead of like the real things that made it fun, they just want to pay their way to the top quickly and then leave.
Lot of dopamine through the end game. Yes, I know it is 2026 and it's not 2004, but I don't mean that the leveling should take a long time. I mean our actions should have meaning. Levels should have meaning. Items should have meanings. But it seems like Blizzard has removed the meaning of the being a character, both in gameplay and in the story. In the past, the difficulty of finding a group walking to the dungeon and trying again and again was not a torture. It was an opportunity to socialize.
It's proven that Tony's causes hair loss and your fate has been sealed. I'm not gonna bald. Are you serious? An album cover. No, I'm not, dude.
Convenience.
Thanks for $5 super chat. Garfield Bizarre Adventures, people for the throat goat. Lamau, no wonder the recent crowdfunded failed. People are tired of getting scammed by Confiscate. No refunds. Sweeping. All right, whatever. It's anyway.
And efficiency system sucked the soul of the game. Now you don't even know what you should do. Dungeons, Mythic Plus, Follower Dungeon.
And there's so much crap now. It's just man. I remember the whole concept of adding in dailies. We had daily quests every day, right? You had to complete them in order to do like certain things. I remember people would at one point people stopped logging in to actually play the game. They just logged in to do their dailies and then just kind of logged off. Like the whole playing WoW became kind of mechanical. It became kind of automated. You just log on, do your dailies, and log off, and that's it. That's it. Your WoW for a day, and you kind of did that out of habit. I even forgot what the dailies even did. I think they got your reputation up, or they got you some stuff that you needed. I remember they had like a lot of things you just kind of had to get, right? And you kind of had to collect and things like that. Materials or whatever it might be. Reputation, you had to get your reputation up to get certain items or aspects or whatever it is. And then that was it. People just kind of like, okay, after a few days, I can do this again. And then finally, after a few days of doing my dailies, I can, get X, Y, Z, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. So it became so automated. It became so just like dead, essentially mentally dead. And that's what happened. That's what happened after a while. It became less fun and more about just getting to the next collection of items or whatever, what have you. Here's an automated raid group. New raid, new boss, new bad guy. Just same as the old bad guy.
Delves, assaults, invasions, word bosses, raids, which difficulty, what should you do? And you don't even need to make an effort.
So you did the dailies, LD, to get exalted for the best pre-raid. That's it. It was all about raiding. It became all centered around raiding. When really a lot of the fun for me at the beginning, at least in the beginning, was like you go in there, you go to Goldshire, you can you can follow the quests to defy the Defias and everything, to attack the Defias. And you get to see Van Cleef and stuff. It was awesome. Like, it was cool. It kind of felt cool to not only get quests and get rewards, but also kind of sink into the story. Like, I would read the briefing of the quests and everything, and I would like look into it and step into it. Like, wow, if you felt kind of immersed in the world, and it kind of felt like you could immerse yourself in the idea of, getting quests from these guys, and like, oh, I'm actually in the world of Warcraft, and it was cool. But then it became more about raiding and getting gear and everything, and just we need to do X, Y, Z. We need to run this dungeon and run this dungeon and run this dungeon so we can get gear to run this dungeon. It was very unfortunate that it kind of geared that way, oddly enough. But the main fun for me was going to like a server and like people were kind of like playing their parts and all that stuff, and running dungeons for the sake of the story, as opposed to continuing on with I gotta do raid. That's what I didn't like about. That's kind of what I didn't like about WoW, was the whole idea of it's not really, they don't want to immerse themselves. They just kind of want to run raids and get better gear, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I remember the dailies became a thing because of the raid. I forgot exactly why. But I do remember the era where it's just all about raiding the next big raid boss. After Ragnaros, after Molten Core, it became the next big raid boss, the next big one, the next big one, the next big one. And it's all about getting the next tier of gear. And to the point where they kind of advertised it, right? They advertised it on the websites where like, here's tier 1 raid gear for this class, and here's tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4. And then they added in the PvP places, the PvP arenas, and the same thing there too. Like, here's your PvP gear, tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're trying to get those pieces as well, trying to get the complete outfit.
The whole goal of the game has just become getting items. There are thousands of players.
Let's see, references to Arthas, the Arthas that needed Arthasing. Exactly. If anybody's just a troll, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Man, we've got a nice little bump there.
Who neither talk nor socialize with each other. Only high numbers and stats matter. Blizzard has tried to make add-ons less important, but this curse still plagues the main game. Being meta, having add-ons, and being perfectly optimized is so important.
And look at all the sheets. This is kind of what it became. It's like, okay, here's a bunch of sheets and stats and everything to get your optimal build for raiding. Which is not, it wasn't, raiding was not the fun for me. Raiding was like, was something cool you could do. But it was like the getting immersed into the world, the world of Warcraft, you know, kind of like feeling like you're part of that history from the RTS games was awesome. But when it became all about raiding and PvP and then buying your way to the top, not so awesome.
And that player don't go on adventure anymore. You just visit a website.
And the whole thing about buying mounts and everything, I remember like it was so tough to get your first mount. And then like, but it was accomplished. It felt like an accomplishment. Like, oh, I got my mount. You want to show it off. And then later, you can get your epic mount, right? Like later on, I think you get to reach level 60 or something like that. And you get to reach your epic mount. And it was cool. It was really cool. And it cost a lot of money too. So it wasn't just like you got to the proper level and then you could just get it. You had to be able to afford it as well. And I think you had to have the right reputation. And basically that meant that you could only get your mount for your race or something like that. Unless you worked really, really hard and got your reputation up with the other factions. But then if you did, you could get like the human mount or something like that. And if you're Alliance. But yeah, now you can just buy a mount. You could just buy mounts now, and it's like, okay, well, just why even work for the basic ones? Unfortunately, that's kind of how it went.
Copy and paste everything, and people judge you based on the numbers from another website and your score. The old pass was not based on the end game experience. It was based on playing socially. You were just a soldier, a simple adventurer. This made the game world feel much bigger than you.
Oh my gosh, dude. Am I gonna? That's a grief. That's 100% a grief. That's a grief. If I die, that's a grief, right? That's 100% a grief. That's a grief. That's gotta be a grief.
Yeah, it's legitimate. You have to ask for help. That's. I remember that. It's like people would just like sick monsters on you. It's pretty funny.
That's a grief!
But in the later expansions, you became the commander, the champion, the Mawwalker. It is like the players is Superman of this world. With the introduction of Cross Realms, you didn't have to worry about your reputation on the server anymore. In the past, if you behaved badly in a group, your reputation would be ruined and you would be isolated. Today, other players are just like NPC controlled by the humans. You finish the dungeon, take your loot, and leave without saying any single word of goodbye. If you make a mistake, toxicity takes over everything. Then player asks, why are there so few tanks? But they don't look at how player treat tanks. People believe everyone must play the meta and maximize their class perfectly. But WoW was never like this. Yes, items and characters were important before, but they were not the only thing in the game.
Give me the glaive!
Yeah, because it felt so accomplished back then. Proof items always been important, but they had more meaning. Yeah. Like, oh, I can forge this thing now. You didn't get the. I don't think you got the hammer directly, but you did get the stuff you could use to forge the hammer.
Now,
and then some guy in the guild would have like the proper skills to do it, right? And then the usually like the tank or whatever would get the hammer.
Because you will never see those people again. Relationships in the game have become easily disposable. On the other hand, the game suffered from a weird phenomenon called Disneyfication. Warcraft moved away from its...
Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's just, everything is diverse and everyone's friendly. Everything's great. Be happy. Be friends.
Brutal roots. And it even ran away from the World War.
It was about coming together as a family.
Ah, gee. Every time, is how you know something has gone woke or Disneyfied? They always say something like, "We're staying together." Something about togetherness and unified or whatever. When we start saying lines like that, it's been hit by the woke bug.
And so we did.
Perhaps, as we were always meant to do.
Even even if a new character like Zul'jah.
Like, I know there's like traditionally, like there could be stories in the past, like, oh, it's about coming together. Like Lord of the Rings is about that. But today, when it's like this, it's all sanitized. Like, look, it's about us coming together. Like, there's no humanity. It's just like Stepford Smiler wives coming together, going, perhaps we should have always been like this. Like this, there's no hint of animosity. It's completely stripped of all emotion and humanity, and it's made into these animatronics who say lines so robotically that they kind of feel like that. It's like robotics. It's inhuman.
Man is introduced in Midnight who refuses to believe in peace with an enemy they fought for thousands and thousands of years. Well, Blizzard decides that you are hateful and you must become a boss and be killed. Cartoonish characters.
Because if you're not really into the whole instant forgiveness or let's bygones be bygones, if there's actually humanity there, we're like, yeah, we had thousands of years of animosity. It can't just be smoothed over overnight. If you play into that, then you're a big old bigot and people hate you. You're just suddenly evil.
First friendships. Believe me, I have no problem with peace at all. But why must this peace be forced?
We are all the descendants of one lineage. We are.
Here's more of it. Like we're all one race, the human race.
In essence, one people. And now we can be.
He's like, oh yeah, you're right. I feel bad about what I did.
Once again,
Blizzard got so caught up in.
This is a long way from like, okay, here's our heroes going around killing a bunch of orcs and trolls,
making the Horde and the Alliance make peace and creating cross-faction systems, that they forgot the charm of this world was these exact political and racial conflicts. That pride we had for our races. The developers even confessed that they wish the game wasn't named Warcraft.
Where it's going, we want it to be approachable. And that's also part of it. You know, even with Chris Metzen, we talk about, sometimes he's like, man, I wish we hadn't called it Warcraft. It sounds kind of intimidating.
Because the war...
Awful. It's like completely out of touch.
The war gives a harsh feeling. When you take war and prejudice out of Warcraft, nothing left but a beautiful yet hollow landscape.
Heroes arise to challenge fate and lead their brethren to battle.
It was such an epic opening in Warcraft 3. So epic. This is two big armies of orcs and humans clashing with each other on the battlefield. Now it's like, oh, we are one race. We are all brothers. I'm so glad we came together. Shut up. It's not called Cuddlecraft. It's called Warcraft.
But the question is, why? Really, why? The foundation of the game is war. Players loved Arthas. I personally moved to Strasholm and burned the city down by my own. I did it, you did it, and now I have to see Arthas turn into pile of ash.
Arthas. It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
When we see a character like Arthas, who was the symbol of greatness for this franchise, turn into ash in such a pathetic way and disappear, a big question arises.
Yeah, WoW is fan fiction to me now. That's kind of why after the Frozen Throne, Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne, it's fan fiction. It's just fan fiction. That's it. That's all it can be. It's all it can ever be. There's no way that could have happened.
Why? Why is Blizzard playing with its own storyline?
Especially after I learned all the stuff they did to Arthas, like, oh, it wasn't his fault. It was like some jailer guy. Like, no, it's fan fiction.
This, instead of creating new epics, the answer is just one sentence, because the gas tank of Warcraft 3 is empty. This Disneyfication has stopped the heartbeat of the game. In 2004, the Horde and the Alliance were just small dots in the dangerous world. Over 15 years, those borders expanded and created the main story. But after BFA expansion, the map and the political events suffered a stroke and stopped completely. The king of Stonewind is gone. The Horde, instead of having a powerful war chief, got a neutral administrative council.
There is no place for a war chief in a time of peace. This is what makes us strong. All of us.
And weren't the Pandarians like a joke race? That was a joke character in the Warcraft 3. It's just get like to the Pandarian Brewmaster in like some other side game or something. Like some other thing. I think it was just like you can get him as a mercenary or whatever, but there was no like big thing about Pandarians.
Building a new future together.
Yeah, they're all so gay now. What the hell?
Still has teeth.
From that day forward, the war song rallied to the banner of Gromash Hellstream. The Warlord.
This is more like it. Yeah, here we go. The Warlord of Gromash Hellstream takes over the Warsong clan, which has been in the Warcraft since, I think, the second game.
With the Iron Will.
Power, honor, and warfare in Warcraft of 2026 somehow mean hatred. It feels like the game's writers only focus on emotional and neutral.
Yeah, Panda was a joke, but Mr. Pandaria is one of the best expansions. Yeah, it began as like I think it just began as a joke, the Pandarian Brewmaster.
Characters.
Just be here with me.
Together.
Turning the story into a
Wait, why is Lothar here? Is like a thing where you go back in time? Like Lothar's dead.
Psychological drama. What is the reason for this? The Horde used to repel.
This is like the gayest thing. This whole thing, this commercial or whatever it is, like the gayest thing.
Present bravery, honor, tradition, culture, and tribes. But now it is this.
But perhaps the question is not who should become war chief, but whether there should be one at all.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Oh. Thrall. What happened to Thrall? This lost his nuts? What happened to Thrall?
This Disney phenomenon came and erased.
Dude, Thrall was the guy that broke out of captivity and freed and personally led brutal, bloody raids to free people from slavery alongside Orgrim Doomhammer, and then launched an exile to Kalimdor by fighting his way through armies of humans, and then carved a new nation out of the wilderness of Kalimdor, fighting hordes of centaurs and humans and all kinds of traitorous orcs and stuff, and help build up Orgrimmar. And I was like, well, maybe there shouldn't be a war chief at all. What happened? That'll happen, Thrall. What happened to all that testosterone, all that power that he had? Like, oh, maybe I should cuck and say there's no war chief. No, there should be a war chief. What else are you going to do?
All these cultural borders. Now, it doesn't matter if you are a dwarf or a troll or an elf. Everyone has turned into one big...
Are you kidding me with this also? The Night Elves and the High Elves made up. They had like literally thousands of years of animosity with... Oh, is that Alexstrasza? But still, I don't think why are the dragons so accommodating now? If that's not a high elf, if that's Alexstrasza.
A troll or an elf, everyone has turned into one big soulless family, just sitting around talking about peace and mutual understanding.
Peace and understanding and shit.
I'm saying there is a lesson to be learned. Let go of your rage at the lower end at Zul'jin.
No, it should be all about rage. Increase the rage.
It will lead you off your path.
You have again given me good counsel, and perhaps we are more alike than we seem.
It always comes back to the same generic Disney dialogue. We're more alike. We're together. We come from the same place. Like enough of this. All right, enough kumbaya and Warcraft.
Characters don't take risks anymore. The storyline is written as if Blizzard always playing it safe. Instead of writing an exciting story, they just offer a simple, predictable, and extremely boring pass. It is like they forgot that the most of players of this game are over 30 years old, and they haven't forgotten the old characters.
Watch your clever mouth, bitch.
Instead, now we have to accept that Lady Liadrin and Zuljara are best friends, and the trolls and the elves must be friends.
Elves took my eye. I cut off my own arm to escape him. And now,
just like the Haranir who showed up over a night.
That's pretty hardcore.
And saying, we share the same blood. Let's be a family and hug each other. It feels like everything must end in friendship and peace. We have to put Batman and the Joker next to each other.
What if they just talked it out and kissed?
Just because in the end, both of them are human. This issue also exists when choosing the game's classes and races. All races and classes have become similar. Nobody is special. Their racial abilities are not unique anymore, and it makes no difference. Classes have become the same. In the past, if you pick a hunter, you had a specific strength and weaknesses.
And Zul'jin was supposed to be epic, right? Like Zul'jin was way back in Warcraft 2. Like that was him. The reason why you have axe throwers in Warcraft 2 is because you saved Zul'jin. That he was one of the main heroes, the troll hero. So yeah, Zul'jin is a big name in Warcraft lore.
If you were a rogue, it was a different style. Now to balance the game for esports, Blizzard given everything to all classes. All classes have a defensive. They have the same utility. They have the movement speeds. Their buffs are all artificial and don't give any major power. They are not special anymore. We don't have overpowered or unique abilities anymore. We lost that old RPG class fantasy. Instead, we have many classes that function exactly the same, only their visuals are different. They are practically identical, and the uniqueness is gone. When they take away that cultural difference, that contrast, and that pride you had for your race, the flag you choose has no meaning or holiness to you anymore. Azeroth, instead of being a living tense word, has turned into a safe kindergarten where nobody is allowed to be enemies with anyone.
I'm looking for world PvP because I hate Horde.
Nothing could be for men anymore. Nothing can be for men anymore. Nothing can be conflict oriented. Nothing can be about gathering resources and fending off bad guys while you protect your home or whatever. It has to also be kumbaya. Oh, everyone of us, we get to we're all from the same race. Yeah, all that stuff. It's all crap. It's all terrible.
So I kill Horde when I see Horde.
Let's just say a pink orc is fine, but the reality is a story.
The soyest of faces.
Otherwise, they turn Horde into a depressed group, a bunch of pussies who don't fight anymore. There is no such a thing as honor.
Instead, you laid waste to the land, murdered innocents, children even. Honor, Kromgar. No matter how dire the battle, never forsake it. Overlord Kromgar, you have disgraced the Horde. You have brought shame to us as a people.
Fucking Ettrig. The Ettrig was replaced in the Sons of Lothar, a man who is a veteran of the Horde. Khadgar is in a wheelchair, and this man is the most powerful mage in the world. Look, God.
They brought back Khadgar. Oh, that's right. They did bring back Khadgar in a wheelchair. What the hell? What is this soy nonsense? What do you mean he's in a wheelchair now? It's like a ethereal wheelchair. Khadgar is dead. Khadgar was left back in Draenor when it blew up. He's dead. I don't know why they brought him back just to put him in a wheelchair.
Guys, my point is not about why a certain character is in a wheelchair or why an orc is wearing peak clothes. The problem is much deeper than that. The problem is that loss of identity.
The Burning Legion has returned.
Fucking Dennis Trollbane, 6-piece. Pay attention, his name is Trollbane, the slayer of trolls. And instead, he forgives his enemies. Let's not even talk about Fairy Lothar because I really don't know what to say. You can have a
Oh, are they like the sons of Lothar? I just saw the name Lothar. Like, are they back? Are they bring back Lothar too? That's that guy's all the way back from Warcraft 1 when the original kingdom was called Azeroth instead of the world was called Azeroth. But I guess now it was called Stormwind or something. I think the original kingdom was now called Stormwind, and they fled to Lordaeron after Warcraft 1 because they canonically lose that war. And I guess, but the original kingdom was called Azeroth, and then Azeroth became the name of the world.
comment about it yourself.
The Red Dawn will rise again.
No! Do not make her a martyr.
Did you see Emperor Tharizdun's son? Emperor
Yeah, don't you know if you kill your enemies, they win?
Tharizdun, the man who allied with Ragnarok,
Like, what is going on here? Was this made by like Trudeau Studios?
kidnapped Moira and was the commander of the Dark Iron Dwarves. And now his son has become this.
Wars before, and someone should step in there and go, "Hey, stop crying!" Like, he should be like sad, and then kind of catch himself and go, "No, now is not the time for tears. Now is time for war and vengeance." That'll be good. You don't see John Wick crying that much, right? He's like, he cries when he gets the puppy, and after that, it's nothing but rage and violence. You know, not everything needs to be for women, right? Not everything needs to be geared towards women. Not everything needs to be feminized. Some things can be for men. All right. Some things are cool, geared towards men, full of rage and testosterone and conflict.
Blizzard thinks we players want to watch cartoons. Arator, who is the protagonist character of this expansion, calls the elves for help instead of the Horde. Aren't Blood Elves members of the Horde? The king of the Worgens, whose son...
Yeah, they are now because of the Warcraft 3 shenanigans, where they were just cast off by this racist guy named Garithos, and they had to flee on their own. And then Kael'thas led them into the employ of Illidan Stormrage, where they served him alongside some crazy elves that were turned to Naga or something like that. That's kind of what the backstory for the Naga are. I think they were high elves that got turned to a race of fish people, and then they somehow ended up with the Horde. I forgot exactly what the lore was in Warcraft that they added on as to why the Blood Elves are part of the Horde now, but they're part of the Horde now, I guess. But yeah, they're part of the Horde. I guess to be on the other side of the Night Elves, I suppose. Let's see, the real Bane. We need the Poner again. Yeah.
Was killed by Sylvanas Windrunner, and his city was destroyed.
Stubborn leader. Such a waste. That arrow's poison was not meant to be wasted on your whelp.
He was the symbol of the Alliance anger and hatred, but the Disneyfication happened to him too. The angry old man of the story suddenly decides to forget the past at the end and offers a hand of friendship to the Forsakens.
And why you took Anduin under your wing?
Wait, he trained Anduin Lothar? That doesn't make any sense. This guy must be freaking ancient.
But I have always been here.
Do I still play WoW? No. I stopped playing WoW like years ago, like a long time. I think I stopped playing around Wrath of the Lich King. It's a long time ago. It was a long time ago, but it was cool. Yeah, the early cinematic. Yeah, that was not just an early cinematic. That was the cinematic. Like when WoW was announced as a thing they were working on, that was a cinematic they used to promote it. That was a long time ago. So the whole thing with the dwarf and stuff, it was good. It was really good.
For you.
How long ago was Warcraft 1? Because Because the original Lothar was Anduin Lothar, I'm pretty sure. How is this guy still alive? Did they bring him back or something? Because this guy must be like 100.
The world is changing, Tess. And as much as I try, I find it hard to change with it.
The most powerful droid in the history of Azeroth, the one who is in the books, could destroy armies single-handedly. What did Blizzard do to him?
No. 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 What is this? What is he's like some theater kid now? What is this? What do they do with all the balls they collected from all the male characters in Warcraft? It's a good question. I think they had to go somewhere, right?
They practically
Definitely not where they start off.
removed him from the story because the writers didn't know what to do with such a...
They didn't know what to do with male characters. Only the women count. See, Megathon says no. They're talking about Anduin Rhine, LD variants. Okay, I didn't know about that guy at all. I'm pretty sure that I just know Anduin Lothar, which would be insane if Anduin Lothar's mentor was there.
A powerful character, Thrall, the one who built the Horde. Listen, the one who built the Horde is sitting there. He is so depressed, waiting for a therapy appointment. Yeah.
Is that real? Is he waiting for a therapy appointment?
Would not lead the Horde again.
Why is everyone sad, grieving,
Also, why can't you lead the Horde again? You built it, bro. Like, just lead it.
and feeling they need to talk to each other and act?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I see what happened now. They got the therapy session bug. Everyone's therapy. Everyone's sad. Everyone's millennial. I see what happened now. Warcraft got taken over by crazy millennials and the people who taught the crazy millennials.
So emotional.
Doesn't feel like a victory. Not without you.
Gay?
How could you say that? After everything you...
Shut up. Stop talking and start fighting. It's talk with your axes and swords.
were my dearest friend. And losing you to this conflict
Who wrote this? Sounds like a college or high school play. What are these lines?
broke my heart.
Why must all of this...
Why is Alex Strauss so stupid? Why Alex Strauss is supposed to be like this mysterious entity? Why is she so dumb?
happen by force? This is the cinematic wrapping up the first story of Midnight.
We were foolish. This, not as the Sunwell, but as something new.
What? What do you mean something new?
The Sunwell. A sacred fount of untold power. It saturated every
Sunwell was like the core of a lot of Warcraft lore, it turns out.
fiber of our being. In the warmth of its glow, we thrived.
Well, if we could transform the Darkwill from the very beginning, why didn't we? So what is the difference between these races now that everyone is together as a family? Why should anyone even play them? Is their uniqueness just in the color of their hair? Where no culture or race means anything. Everyone under one flag. Tradition and tribes doesn't matter anymore. Everyone can have all classes, all races, all items, and all cosmetics. So what makes you special? Does being special mean having a higher Mythic Plus score? Really? No, please, somebody just answer my question in the comments. You are no longer playing Warcraft. You are playing a user interface. Everything is designed based on add-ons. Boss fights are no longer creative. Have you noticed that we only have 4 mechanics overall? Dodging, soaking, baiting, and space management. All fights are the same. They just change the visuals. But it won't.
I thought it said mating. I was like, whoa, it really has changed.
Wasn't like it before. At least I can say Blizzard cared about the story and personality of the bosses, not about whether guilds kill them too fast or how war first race goes. Boss fights used to be more creative. They had better designs, and this was true for both the game design and the creativity in the story. Blizzard fed off the reputation of villains and heroes that were created 15 years ago. When those characters ran out, the narrative team panicked. They have no ideas for the future. That is why, if you look closely, the new characters created in the recent years mostly reflected real-life personal themes, meaning the design...
That's from Warcraft 1. I know. I think it's Warcraft 2, but this is a picture of Orgrim Doomhammer cutting off the head of Blackhand, because Orgrim Doomhammer did launch a coup d'etat, I guess, or revolt against Blackhand, Blackhand was the original invading war chief of from Warcraft 1. Like, he was the guy that kind of led the invasion into the human world. Meanwhile, Ner'zhul was the war chief that stayed behind to run the orcs who were left in Draenor. Oh yeah, Orgrim Doomhammer was the guy that he was the leader of the Blackrock clan, and he just rose up and took over Blackhand's position by killing him. And I think it made sense because he had failed the first war, I think, or at least he was failing, and then Orgrim Doomhammer took over, and I think that's why they won, because Orgrim Doomhammer took over, because he was a ruthless yet effective war chief, way more than the bumbling nature of Blackhand. But yeah, Ner'zhul, that's where he was. He was left back in Draenor, where he would eventually become, the Lich King. But I think he was like a warlock also. But you look back then, this is awesome. Like, orcs are just beheading other orcs to take power. That's pretty brutal.
Designers or writers takes their own thoughts and beliefs in the real world and puts them into a character in the game. You see a character who doesn't want war anymore.
Take your vengeance.
And they resolve a 10,000-year war with the 4 quests in Zul'Aman. Most of the characters in current Warcraft have become mirrors of the current writer of the game, to the point that even Chris Metzen might not have a clear impact.
How, when I came back on the team, the development process and
Guess what he says now? He lost his nuts.
even the conceptualizing process, like where does the expansion take place? What are the main themes? What's the focus? Really have become much more democratized, right?
And yes, Chris, that's why Dragonflight...
So that feminized, essentially, because when you have when men are running things, it's like one leader, one war chief, and everyone will offer opinions, but the war chief's word is final, right? But when women are involved and it's become more feminized, suddenly it's become a group effort. Everyone must have a voice. We must vote on it. The lead guy does not really have the main say. It's like, okay, what does everyone else think? What does the group think? It's like that has to become the prevailing narrative, as opposed to one mind running the vision.
Sucks.
I am not alone.
Why is Alexstrasza so prominent now? That is why it doesn't make any sense. What happened that made Alexstrasza so important as a character now?
Over the years, the game's start...
Dun 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 dun.
I'm not alone.
Is this like a Marvel cameo thing? Dun 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 dun. There's Iron Man.
Over the years, the game's story turned into tangled mess. A long sentence without a period. To understand it, you had to know the story of 15 years ago and read books outside of the game. Unstable management and conflicts between directors with opposing views, like Alex Afrasiabi, made this identity crisis even deeper. At the same time, with the arrival of Activision's and Bobby Kotick, the priority shifted from creating a world to a money printing machine.
Is it over? Yes, Bobby. It's over. You can leave now, with your $30 million severance fee still intact. I see.
Now that I've ruined everything. Yeah, this is kind of like Arthas. I can leave now that I've ruined the entire world.
Only money.
Showed that keeping shareholders happy is more important than the players. You might say Blizzard has changed. Yes, they changed. Maybe in terms of gameplay. But in terms...
The Alex Ross got prominent because we had a whole freaking Dragon expansion where the game got better, but the story got worse. Well, that sucks. I'm pretty sure they're pretty good at the mechanics and everything and making like a, quality of life improvements, but the story is kind of where people are complaining, I think. Yeah.
Of storytelling, which is the passion of many players, it is not taking a good path. Everything came together to bring us to this point. And the question is, are we players to blame? Did we get old? Do the new generation of gamers like these changes and this style of gaming?
That's not. I mean, if that's the case, then the new generation of gamers suck because they have no respect for anything. It's just, I want the new reward, the next thing. Let me pay for the next thing. Let me get the new dopamine hit. They don't really have the respect of the lore or the character or anything like that. They're just kind of into the next reward, the next small dose of dopamine, and that's about it. So even if that's the case for like are we just old and not really up and hip with the new generation? Even if that is the case, then the new generation sucks. They're just all retards because they don't really respect anything or anything sacred. They're not actually fans. They're just dopamine addicted gamers. That's it. And when you have like a game like World of Warcraft, appreciating the lore and the characters and its history is part of the fun, and it's part of this being a fan of this area. So you could do all that gamer stuff with like Halo or Modern Warfare because it's just about Call of Duty, because it's all about getting the next kill, getting the next rank up. You could do that with those games. It's fine. But Warcraft is supposed to be about the story, the immersion of it. That's why it's called the World of Warcraft. It's supposed to be getting into the immersion of its lore, its characters, its history, things like that. So, that was a big part of it. When we kind of just whittle it down to this numbers and rewards, you kind of lose most of what made it great. And that's why so many people left.
Rather than the old Warcraft, rather than the old ideas, I kind of state one thing with absolute certainty from my side, and I leave the judgment of Blizzard to you. The reality is that we are no longer those carefree teenagers from 15 years ago.
Oh shit! Here we go, boys. I don't know if this boat's gonna crash or not, but we're gonna find out.
That's a lot of people to have on one boat.
I'm getting on the first fucking boat. I don't care. I'm getting on first fucking boat. Let's do it. Look at everybody.
We now have jobs, families, and responsibilities. We don't have the time to search the chat for hours looking for a group. On the other hand, the mental pressure to be perfect in Mythic Plus dungeons and raids made the community aggressive. Blizzard saw this exhaustion and the players running away. So they developed.
Oh yeah, was that time? Because there was that time, I think, where someone had like this, so were able to like circumvent the game a little bit, and they had like this incurable disease, and they kind of like were able to go back to Orgrimmar with and spread it around. Everyone started dying, and they couldn't stop it. I think this is what that was. This is where that's from.
Single player pass. The cities become empty because players sought shelter in their own safe solo corners instead of battlefields. And I can understand this from Blizzard sides. Features like play housing and delves were built exactly for this tired generation, a place where you can get endgame items without needing a group or dealing with toxic behaviors. The real endgame has changed for players, campaigning for gear and items is a rat race and an endless treadmill that becomes worthless with every patch. Every 6 months, you have to run again and again and again to quickly reach maximum gear. Leveling up gets skipped so fast, and it feels like the game is no longer an MMO.
You get that Burning Crusade pass. Anyway, chat, we're going to end the stream for a day. That was pretty good. We got the whole video done almost. I think we just have a minute left on it. It's pretty much at the end. But we're going to go ahead and close out the stream for today. Thank you much everyone for joining me today, chat. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your weekend. And of course, lower your volume or raise your volume, chat, because we're going to end with Pillivin. So here we go, chat. Loud clip incoming. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ay, 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 ay.